Tonight, in this very private setting, he begins his 2018 campaign. And Beto, very, very classy bow tie. They have classed the joint up here.
Oh, yeah.
And he hopes to begin the process of one day, like a Danny Roman who went through this same program, to eventually become a world-class fighter.
It's a clip-on, Steve. They classed it up, and not the announcers. And before we begin the Night of Champions live stream, we're going to present a special replay of Danny Roman's recent WBA Super Bantamweight Championship win from the famed Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan. In Tokyo, Japan, the WBA Super Bantamweight title on the line. Thank you for joining us tonight. Louis Pavon will be your referee. 122-pounders going at it. And it features Danny Roman from Los Angeles, California, in his first defense of his WBA belt. There you see him with Mr. Thompson in his corner. Thompson Boxing Promotions promoting him. Ryo Matsumoto is the man who's going to try to take his belt tonight. Danny Roman has had to work for it. He's record of 23-2-1, 9 KOs, but it was in the same country of Japan where he won his belt earlier last year. Alongside Steve Kim from Boxing Scene and UCN Live, I am Beto Duran. Steve, Danny Roman has had to work for everything in his career. And most guys, when you win a belt, let me defend it at home. No, let me go back across to Japan and let me get to the next guy.
As you referenced, September 3rd of 2017, he went to Kyoto, Japan, and dominated Shun Kobo to win this belt. And the simple reason why they're back in the land of the rising sun, this is where the money's at. And on the line, perhaps, is a shot at getting back on American television. Should he win this fight, he does have a mandatory due should he come out victorious against that tall, lanky Japanese fighter in Moises Flores. So a lot on the line here for Mr. Roman in his first defense.
Pretty Boy is his opponent's nickname. Ryo Matsumoto, 5'9", 24 years old, from Yokohama, Japan, 21-1, 19 KOs. But the question with him is, how many of those guys have gone up against that gave him real opposition? And Danny Roman has always played the underdog role, whether he's in his own backyard, whether he's sparring some of the better gyms in Southern California. The babyface assassin is Danny's nickname. And he's come in and quietly won himself a title.
Yeah, and Beto, this certainly is home canvas advantage. If you take a look at the tail of the tape, Danny Roman in his physical prime at age 27, and look at that difference in height, 5'9" to 5'6". So certainly Danny Roman at a height disadvantage.
12 rounds in the Super Bantamweight division, Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan. As the fighter touch gloves, and we are ready to go. Danny Roman, Ryo Matsumoto, thank you for joining us all over the world as the babyface assassin takes on Pretty Boy. Hear the bell, we're underway. Roman with the blue and the neon around his waist. Matsumoto. Taller fighter. You can see the big difference in height immediately, Steve.
Yeah, one thing Roman's going to have to do is get that left side going with that jab and move his feet underneath and get nice and low. Roman, though, a very, very well-schooled boxer, puncher. Not much power, but he does seem to be growing in to his physical strength. You mentioned the venue, the historic hall that we're at. Matsumoto is very familiar with this venue. 13 prior bouts here, so he should be in very, very comfortable settings.
Roman, born in Southern California, South Central to be exact. He was a soccer player as a kid, started boxing, but he's been used as a sparring partner for Oscar Valdez, a WBO champion, 126 pounds. Also has sparred Jesse Magdaleno, holds the WBO belt at 122. That could be something down the line if he gets past Matsumoto.
No, absolutely. And you see early on, Danny Roman winning the tactical battle in terms of distance and spacing. When he's on the inside, he could basically, a lot of times when you face a taller fighter, that height advantage and that reach advantage actually becomes something, a bit of a negative when you're on the inside. Closer Danny Roman is, if they're going to punch at the same time, Roman with the more compact arm should be able to beat him to the punch, just like he did right there with that right hand.
Solid right hand by Roman here in the first round. Matsumoto answers with a hook. Roman with the 1-2.
Boy, Roman is very sharp and compact early on, and We talked about the sparring he got for this fight. He got a lot of it at Legends Boxing, which is becoming one of the main hubs in Southern California. The day that I saw him at the gym with Alex Campanovo, he was actually sparring with a junior welterweight prospect by the name of Petey Durant. So they're definitely trying to get, they're trying to get taller.
Big kid.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why you spar with Edgar. And again, beating him to the punch on the inside. But when you're facing tall guys, many times you're going to find yourself in a position of having to move around with bigger fighters.
Roman landing the heavier shots here in the opening round. Matsumoto sticking with him. I think Matsumoto's realizing there's a step up in competition now. Usually Matsumoto, from the fights I've seen in the past, he's the one being the aggressor. He's the one in charge. Yeah,
Matsumoto's being knocked on his back foot, and he's not necessarily controlling distance like you would figure for a guy who's built like that. Roman's done a very nice job. You see him, Roman does a nice job of just keeping his hands up and picking off punches and just enough head movement to give a non-stationary target, and he's doing really good work on the inside in the mid-range.
Opening round, winding down. The championship fight, 122-pound WBA belt on the line. Danny Roman and Ryo Matsumoto in Japan.
Beto, I think round number one was a very solid one for Danny Roman, setting the plate early. We talked about distance and spacing. He certainly seemed to control that in the first 3 minutes, and just my opinion, but that experience that he had last September in Japan, I don't think this is so much of a foreign fight for him anymore. He seems to be very comfortable in his surroundings. Looking at his Facebook page leading into this bout, he seemed to be enjoying himself in Japan leading into the last 2 weeks.
He's also in Tokyo, which is a huge city compared to where he was at. Roman actually spent 2 weeks in Japan preparing for this fight to get used to everything, whether it's the hotel, whether it's the food. Just make sure you're wrapping it up in that comfort level, the sacrifices you make.
You know, Danny talked about his original trip back last summer, how the first hotel they stayed at, they had to check out of because of bed bugs.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
This has been a much more hospitable trip.
Well, when you come in as a champion, they make sure to give you the suite. Solid right hand by Roman again. As he continues to develop as a boxer, Roman, Steve, over the last couple of years, I think you've been telling me, is he's become more precise with his punches.
There's no wasted movement. You see what he's doing, moving his head, hands in a nice defensive position, and every time Matsumoto throws something, he slips and he counters really sharp. Again, he's not a great puncher. 25 fights coming into this, actually 26, only 9 stoppages. Roman is what he is. He hits you just hard enough to get your respect.
Matsumoto only 79 rounds boxed in his career coming into this fight. Roman had 153. Big reason is Matsumoto just knocking out dudes left and right early in his career.
And Beto, look at this sequence right here. Good shots to the hooks and to the body and then uppercuts. Matsumoto needs to create a little bit more distance and space to unfurl his arm. From that particular distance, inside the pocket as they call it, he's going to get consistently beat to the punch by the defending champion. Nice early work inside, Beto. When you face those tall, lanky guys, you want to keep chopping that tree to the midsection. Roman putting in some really nice early work.
Roman is a fighter who had to fight to get a promoter early in his career, probably looking at Thompson Boxing, his manager Eddie Gonzalez. So you understand the business, especially when you're early in your career and you lose a couple fights. You had a draw as Roman, but here you see him developing into a nice young fighter. Get the man muscles, and he's just controlling. A different attitude about him, even the way he comes into a fight now.
Yeah, there's an old saying, an old axiom in the sport of boxing that when a fighter like Roman wins his first major world title, they become 40 to 50% better, if not more confident. And early on, he certainly looks that way. There's a certain command that he has in there. And you see them again, when they punch at the same time from that particular distance, Roman will usually beat Matsumoto to the punch.
Continuing to be into the punch, controlling the ring, is the defending champion, Danny Roman. A solid round in Tokyo, Japan, between Roman and Matsumoto. WBA belt on the line.
And we take a look at Matsumoto in the corner. Last bout was August 30th, where he knocked out Jason Buttar in 5 rounds. Just looking at his box rec, certainly in terms of seasoning, the advantage is to Roman. And again, this is a common theme here. If they're going to be inside the pocket, you see what happens. They both land right hands, but that's where Roman wants to be. His arms are a little bit shorter, and his punches are a little bit sharper from in close.
Champion Danny Roman had the rough road. He was actually a B-side on his showbox fight back in January 17th, a WBA eliminator. That was against Adam Lopez. He knocked out Lopez in the 9th round, and that was one fight where we're thinking Lopez has a big upside. Lopez has a big career. He quickly derailed Lopez's thoughts.
Well, that particular night, Lopez came in as the undefeated prospect, and I would say that if there was an A-side on that event, it would certainly be him. If I'm not mistaken, that was Roman's first fight outside the state of California, and it took place in Atlantic City, and he faced a promoter's house fighter, and he simply dismantled him to a point where trainer Ronnie Shields had to throw in the towel. A dominant, eye-opening performance for Roman, which then eventually led to the title shot last September.
Yes, September against Shun Kubo in Kubo's hometown of Kyoto. Dropped him in the 7th, 8th, knocked him out of the 9th, got his hand raised. Roman had won every single scorecard except for the first on the judges that night. So he completely dominated him. He's controlling this fight now.
Yeah, and Roman slipping, sliding, getting under a lot of the punches. In fact, the jab is not setting the table many times. He's just, right, see again, lead uppercut to the body, and he's also throwing a lot of hooks downstairs. He believes he can be very, very evasive against Matsumoto. Matsumoto is having problems with the elusiveness in terms of the head movement of Roman.
Matsumoto, all of his fights have been in Japan. He's never been in this tough. The movement from Roman, too, on the waist, side to side.
Right, and he's constantly moving in, inching forward, inching back, and he's got his hands in pretty good defensive position. You see, again, leading with the hooks to the body.
And Matsumoto is the one holding on.
This is really going to test Matsumoto's durability. I would venture to say he's probably never faced this complete of a fighter that's put the heat on him this early. There's another shot to the body, this time with the right hand. But Roman, there's no doubt in my view that the game plan set by that corner is about attacking the body, and there is that old saying, kill the body, the head will eventually die.
And he's going to the body, and Matsumoto has no answer for that. The taller fighter, you would think he would jab a little bit or keep the distance, and Roman keeps on coming in.
You know, the stereotype is, again, as he gets whacked by more body shots, and from in this distance, you see again, Danny Roman controlling the action. He might be the taller, lankier fighter, Beto, but that may not be his identity. We think about him and we typecast him as a tall boxer. He just may not really be that type of guy. That may not actually be his ring identity.
Comes into the fight with an 86% knockout ratio. Maybe he just falls in love with that right hand and the KO. And as you taught me, a lot of guys get those KOs, but they don't get the development.
Right. Well, listen, sometimes your knockout percentage or your general record may not be as good as your actual matchmaking.
Body work again from Roman. He's getting stronger as the fight goes on. 3rd round winding down in Tokyo.
some of the action from the previous round, and this has been a common theme, double left hooks, but Matsumoto is able to land a right hand over the top. At the end of round number 3, Matsumoto tried to step on the gas pedal just a little bit and put some of the pressure on Roman, but I think that's exactly the type of fight Roman wants.
The redness around the nose of pretty boy Matsumoto. Little blood from Roman. Corner doing work out there. Hear the crowd chanting a bit in between rounds, and in Japan, as the tradition is, during the fight, during the round, they stay quiet. In between rounds, they make the noise. Kind of eerie.
I still remember February 10th, 1990. We talk about eerie silence. Buster Douglas pulling off one of the all-time great upsets in sports, and literally, you did feel as though for large segments you were at the opera. You could really hear a pin drop at the Tokyo Dome that night. In fact, that was a large part of the story about how there was this great event happening and no one seemed to be reacting. In fact, Mike Tyson seemed to be in a bit of a trance early on in that fight.
We were talking to Roman after he came back at the victory party for him. And what was different about it? He said, it was cool because they respect you. After the fight, everybody talks to you. But during the fight, it's like it's sparring. Going for the big right hand, Roman just missed.
You could see Roman really now stepping on his front foot, trying to take absolute control. Now, I think he's fought very well early on. They must really believe that Matsumoto's record is a little bit built up in terms of punching power, and that like a lot of fighters early on, they may not be good with that reverse gear. In fact, they may not even have one. And as long as Roman's able to come forward a little bit, you can see how uncomfortable the Japanese challenger really is.
It's almost like Roman isn't really worried about Matsumoto's power, because he's just coming in there throwing his own bombs.
Right, and also, again, look how much shorter and tighter his punches are.
No wasted effort from Danny Roman. Roman also wearing the Reyes glove, known as a puncher's glove. Oh, they both are.
Yeah.
Getting some early punching going. Roman bouncing around. Got the Manny Pacquiao Nike boots, does Danny Roman. Body work from Roman. Right hand from Roman.
Roman doing a nice job of going low and then high. Left hooks to the body, then right hands over the top. One punch will play off of one another. When I think of Roman and you say describe him, I would say well schooled and all around. I mean, again, if you're going to rate him on power, it's probably the one thing that you wouldn't give a check mark on. Every other category, I think he certainly passes. He's really turned into a complete prize fighter.
Very fundamentally solid is Danny Roman. Just reading your stories, listening to your podcast, and you hear guys, you see, you always say how trainers tell you, you have to shadow box.
Yeah.
You have to keep that chin tucked in. It's the basic stuff. You don't want to be doing mitts like, for Instagram. You want to do mitts for a reason. The pace slowing down a little bit from Matsumoto. Roman coming in, lands with the right to the jaw. 10 seconds to go in the 4th round. Another solid round for Danny Roman and Ryo Matsumoto, but Roman continuing to control this fight in Tokyo, Japan.
Action from round number 4. Again, Roman slips that right hand, left hand gets through, but again, in close, inside the phone booth, this is exactly where Roman's been very, very comfortable throughout this first 4 rounds.
A little bit of blood from the nose of Roman. Mouthpiece goes back in. Get ready for the 5th round. Ryo Matsumoto is wondering, okay, I know I'm the challenger here today. This guy's legit. Matsumoto only lost, came back in 2016. He was stopped in the 5th round against Victor Uriel Lopez. And on the rematch, he knocked out Lopez in the 6th.
And Beto, my scorecard after 4, 40-36, 4-0 for Roman. Simply more effective, cleaner punching, and also been the ring general inside. So Matsumoto got to get going.
Matsumoto, you mentioned how you stopped that one time, so you also have to beg the question of how much of this fighter can he deal with adversity? If you have him down 4 rounds, can he dig himself back into a fight?
Well, one thing he has shown much more than Shun Kubo back in September is durability. Early on, Kubo, you could see his cage was rattled. Matsumoto's eaten a lot of leather here in the early stages of this fight. He looks pretty good, though, even though, again, eating a lot of good, clean, hard shots, both to the body and the head. But I have him down big. He's got to start to create his own offense and be more of the initiator. It has been Roman creating and also leading throughout that night.
Leading with that right, answering with the body shot.
See, once Roman's inside, let's say in that distance, but there's no need to jab. You're already inside where you want to be. And in fact, with the jab, you want a little bit of distance and space. Once you close it, inside close quarters, your chest to chest, you could just let those hooks go at that point.
Roman keeps on coming inside that phone booth, body work just like you're talking about, Steve, and he comes right back at him. Doesn't give Matsumoto a chance to breathe at all.
This is just steady work. Steady, steady work. Just going right to the grindstone and pounding that rock, as they say, from Roman. Best thing about Roman's development is not only is it the execution of technique, he's also turning into what I believe is a fan-friendly fighter.
That's one of the keys, too, especially at the lighter weight. We've seen the Superflies. The reason that Tom Laughlin and his group have done a great job with the Superfly series because the guys are exciting. You're smaller, you better put on a show. Roman's starting to do that in his career.
And we'll talk about the landscape at 122 later if Roman's able to win this fight. And so far, he's off to a very good start. Roman, though, there is a throwback quality to what he does. There's not a lot of frills, there's not a lot of flash. What there is a lot of good old-fashioned prize fighting, just hand-to-hand combat on the inside.
You know how he keeps that guard also. Matsumoto is his left-hand glove. Gets hit with the right. Blood from the mouth of the Japanese fighter Matsumoto. Eats a left hook.
And Beto, real subtly, you could see Matsumoto now trying to use his legs a little bit and perhaps a little bit more footwork on the perimeter. But I'm not so sure that's exactly what he wants to do. But maybe his own fight philosophy early on has been beaten out of him. And again, you see a right hand from Roman.
Another solid round from Danny Roman in Tokyo.
This has been one of the themes of the fight. There's a belt shot from Roman, and then he comes right over the top with the left uppercut, shooting right through the middle. And again, Matsumoto more or less playing self-defense here. He's throwing punches, but he's on his back foot. It is Roman coming forward with the momentum, landing the punches with much more momentum and force.
Matsumoto being told to take that deep breath. You see in the last couple rounds, the last 20 seconds where he's kind of gassed out a little bit from the pressure from Roman.
Yeah, Roman's pressure is just so steady, just so professional, so composed. Matsumoto, I get the sense, is going to have to really land a punch or two that could turn the tide. Not so sure he really has it at this stage, though. Roman is in complete control.
The babyface assassin went to Lusinger High School, same high school that produced Russell Westbrook. The Olympians, the nickname. Here he is now as a world champion, Danny Roman. Started boxing at Maywood Boxing in Southern California. And that's the typical old school boxing where if you're in there, it's not sparring. It might as well be a fight.
That is fighting with headgear and bigger gloves. And also, recently, you mentioned this earlier, when you're able to work and have the opportunity to move around with Oscar Valdez and Jesse Magdaleno, a deep stable of professional prize fighters at the world-class level in Southern California, there's an old saying, iron sharpens iron, and there's a good uppercut. You know, this fight to me, I don't know if Roman just decided to make this adjustment in fight, but there really is no need for the jab. Since he's not being put on the outside and he's already in close, he's just starting a lot of the salvos with either left hooks or right hands.
Well, Matsumoto is letting him come in as he eats that body shot again. Yeah, a couple of years ago, Roman was the one calling people around, hey, can I come spar here? Waiting an hour, maybe waiting 2 hours just to get some sparring in. Now it's Danny calling people, I need you to come here at this time and this time.
Well, things have certainly changed. It's interesting about Danny Roman in terms of his identity. He did tell me before he left for Japan that my life hasn't changed all that much. But it is interesting. He doesn't really stand out from any other fighter at Legends Boxing. He still has to kind of make his way in terms of building his profile. But there certainly is a level of respect for anyone that has a major championship belt. I think people realize now, Danny Roman, he might be here for a while at 122.
Every boxer now has their own shirt, their own hat, but not many of them have an image of them holding a championship belt. That's what Danny Roman has. He wore that shirt into the ring. Very solid evening so far for Danny Roman from the opening bell, Steve. Just coming in, doing work against Ryo Matsumoto. The crowd now starting to make some noise. Right hand from Roman.
I can't recall the last time a right-handed fighter threw so many lead left hooks and right hands, just the way Roman is. From the feet down or the waist down, Roman has really done a great job of controlling the tactical area inside that ring. He's always in much better position to punch at his comfortable range more than the Japanese challenger.
Solid right hand to the jaw of Matsumoto. Roman in the left. Oh, see, he does that little switch at the end.
Yeah, that's what you call the shift, and that's basically seamlessly going from the orthodox stance to left-handed, always understanding where your front foot is and what your power hand is at that point. I think another round in the book for Danny Roman, just doing some really, really solid work.
Now there's blood from the mouth of Matsumoto. Look at the replays from that round.
See, this is where Matsumoto kind of wants to be, outside being able to unfurl those long arms. But again, the airspace is being breached by Roman, and that has been the identity. That has been the story since round number one. I just really like, see what he does there, Beto, the way he compacts that right hand. You don't throw all your right hands or left hooks the same. You got to change the trajectory and the angle of it, and Roman is very, very crafty from short distances of just ratcheting that elbow and getting his fist right across that target zone.
Very calm in the corner of Danny Roman. Introduced to boxing by his family. His older brother actually just had a baby. Roman only seen that his new relative once because he's been in camp and training, getting work done. The life of a fighter, the sacrifices you make, not all are willing to make them.
Well, we mentioned this earlier. He is certainly a product of the Alex Campanovo matchmaking and developmental process. He had been a staple at the Doubletree Hotel for the past several years. I get the sense we're not going to be seeing him anymore unless he's joining us ringside for a round or two. Danny Roman's life has certainly changed, and he's adding to his resume here. And Beto, you look at 122, this division, which had kind of been, I don't want to say dominated by Guillermo Rigondeaux, but he had certainly been known as the most dominant fighter in that division. I don't know where Rigondeaux is. Someone please let him tweet again. But if you look at some of the stuff going on, Ray Vargas is now on HBO. He's the WBC belt holder. You have the WBO champion, Jesse Magdaleno, who will be on ESPN soon. He's certainly a recognizable face. And then there is another Japanese champion by the name of Ryosuke Iwasawa. He has the IBF belt. But if you look at some of the local fights that could be made for Roman that would get him back on a bigger platform in the U.S., there are names like Diego De La Hoya. That certainly comes to mind. And I think from an action and style standpoint, that would be a crowd-pleasing fight.
At 122 pounds, as Steve mentioned earlier, the reason he's defending his title in Japan, money.
Money.
Which is simple as that. You give me one more dollar, I am there, especially when you're in your athletic prime.
You know, this reminds me of what Martin Castillo, one of the first champions for Frank Espinoza, who was a 115-pound belt holder, very solid little technician. He made about 6 or 7 defenses out in Japan, and Frank said it very simply. Steve, they pay us well out there.
As long as you don't have the bed bugs,
yeah.
That's only your first trip. If you can survive that, then you're ready to go. Less than a minute in the 7th round, Danny Roman controlling his first title defense in Japan against a very game Ryo Matsumoto. Pretty boy, not looking so pretty anymore. You can also see Roman, the conditioning on him.
Well, this is a fast pace. When you fight like this, you're not getting a lot of time to take a breather.
Maybe the 2 weeks in Japan probably helped him acclimate. The elevation also.
The good work here, though, by Matsumoto. Now he's starting to get a little airspace and able to stretch his arms out. This is where he wants to be. He wants to be the guy on the front foot, but also
until this
happens.
Roman let him get some airspace and come in and land a couple hooks to the jaw. That body shot to the body. Hook to the jaw again. And that'll do it for the 7th.
And Beto, that might have been Matsumoto's best round and maybe his best segment, but I still don't think he won that round. And by the end of it, it was him that was playing a little bit of prevent defense. Ooh. Again, this has been the common theme. I don't want to belabor this point, but the body shots. Matsumoto has been that oak, and Roman has been that axe.
Oh. Eighth round of the WBA 122-pound belt on the line, the super bantamweight division. Bethel Duran, Steve Kim, and you as you're watching Danny Roman across the Pacific in the land of the rising sun, Tokyo, Japan, controlling this fight against Ryo Matsumoto.
You know, I'm really impressed by Matsumoto's chin.
Yeah.
He has shown a real beard tonight. He has taken clean shots. Now, again, Danny Roman's not exactly the hardest hitter, but he punches well, though. You can see the good technique, punching all the way from the legs and the core, creating a lot of inertia, a lot of momentum with his punches. And Matsumoto, I think, has taken cleaner punches and more of them than Shun Kubo did back in September, who was folded in 9.
Matsumoto from Yokohama, Japan. He turned pro back in 2011. Let's see his first fights. First round KO, second round, first. Finally got to a 5th round stoppage. Has gone 12 rounds once. That was back in 2014 when he won a regional flyweight title.
See Roman's stance now, Beto, it's a little bit more upright. That might be fatigue. As we stated, he has fought at a very, very busy pace. Now, that's going to be a little bit of an issue if Matsumoto has a few good right hands in his back pocket.
That's what Matsumoto's made of. A lot of the papers in Japan wondering if this might have been too soon for him to get a championship fight at the age of 24 because of the lack of ring experience, the lack of rounds. They're telling Roman, keep it up a little bit. He's been working that belt. Yeah. This one's just a little bit too low.
Yeah, Louis Pabon hasn't had much to do tonight. It's been a very, very clean fight between both of these men.
And Roman continues to work the body, both sides. Left hook to the right side of Matsumoto. Going upstairs with that left hook. He's been doing anything he wants with that left.
You know, he's throwing the type of combinations to the body that you see good professional fighters do on a heavy bag. I mean, this has been textbook stuff on how to strafe downstairs consistently, both sides, both hands.
Solid right hand to the jaw of Matsumoto, snaps it back.
And Beto, this is so crafty what Roman's trying to do. He strafes the body for about 20 seconds, and he feints downstairs. He tries to come over the top. That's one punch playing off one another.
Strong 8th round for Danny Roman as he continues to control the fight in Tokyo, Japan against Ryo Matsumoto, the 24-year-old with only one loss in his book.
You know, Matsumoto's certainly been game here as we come to the end of the 8th, and he's landed a couple of shots, but Beto, there's no doubt about it, some of the air has been taken out of the Yokohama tires of Matsumoto. Ooh, right hand over the top again, and that's been the type of right hand. I wouldn't call it a straight right, but it's certainly an overhand right, and just a two-handed, two-fisted attack of Roman. And Matsumoto certainly showing that tonight he is a game prize fighter.
The pretty boy, Ryo Matsumoto. And tough tonight, Danny Roman defending his belt for the first time. Roman with just his corner traveling with him. Trainer, manager, Mr. Thompson and Alex Campanolo against everybody else in the building is all on Matsumoto's side.
Yeah, and so far this fight is all Danny Roman, 2/3 of the way through as we head to the championship rounds, 80-72 Roman. Matsumoto's been game, but it has been Roman from the very onset who's been the superior prize fighter, simply controlling distance, spacing, and out-punching Matsumoto.
And how do you control a situation that's not in your side? You win every round. You quiet the crowd, you win the round, and you continue to work and work.
And Beto, he's doing it, I think, in emphatic fashion.
Yep.
I don't think he's just sneaking these rounds in. Some of these rounds have been very, very definitive and easy to call.
It's got to be an eerie feeling, too, though, where you look around and like, I don't know anybody. I mean, we've been in situations where you walk into a room or a party, you don't know anybody, but this is a prize fight.
But you know what? The situations like what happened in September, the experience that he went through probably normalized a situation like this. And there's no doubt Roman now, I would consider a seasoned prize fighter. He's lost, he's gone on small shows, he's gone on the road, he's going on foreign countries. From this point forward, I don't think there's going to be a lot of stages that are going to really intimidate a guy like him.
When you're not the blue chip prospect, when you're not the one everybody talks about, and all you do is just come in and you control a fight and you win. That's what Danny Roman is doing right now. The baby face assassin. Looking good in Tokyo, Japan. Continues to come in with ease, Steve.
No, he really does. A lot of the time you watch a fight from the waist down and understand who is controlling the ring generalship, and it's been Danny Roman. And Roman, I don't think has abandoned the jab. I just think from where this fight is being fought, there really is no need because he doesn't have to actually jab his way in. You know, Roman is not Pernell Whitaker, but his head movement is really impressive. His ability to slip and to counter. I'm not so sure Matsumoto's ever faced that type of skill level before. You see, did it again.
Yep.
Slipped inside and the left hook over the top.
He answered with a hook to the body, another hook to the...
And he did it again.
Continues to do what he wants, and Matsumoto, when he goes back to look at this tape, will say, okay, I see what he did, but how did he do it?
It's the art of being there and disappearing.
Yep. A solid right hand again from Danny Roman. Ooh. Hook from Roman. 9 rounds in the books.
Some of the action from round number 9 and the beat goes on. And look at that. Overhand right and followed by a left hook. And Matsumoto, certainly if there's one thing we could say about him, he is, as the old timers would say, dead game.
Dead game?
That means you are as tough as can be.
I like that.
You are tougher than a $2 Salisbury steak or a mother-in-law.
$2? Man, you spend all kinds of money, don't you? You go all out. See some concern in the corner and also in the crowd of the Japanese fans.
Oh, I think this audience is under the realization that Danny Roman has been the far superior fighter throughout the first 9 rounds heading into the 10th. And Beto, we're going into the last 9 minutes. I believe Matsumoto really needs to come up with a miracle. Again, on the line for Danny Roman is maybe a televised spot back in the States. Alex Campanovo, the general manager and matchmaker for Thompson Boxing, told me before they left that they do have a WBA title fight, a mandatory due against Moises Flores, who we saw against Guillermo Rigondo last June get hit after the bell.
Where's Flores from?
I think he's from Mexico, I believe. Now, my understanding is that fight could end up on some sort of undercard on one of the major networks. So a lot on the line here for Roman. And then should he get past that fight, we talked about it. I think there are some very interesting unification opportunities that exist against the likes of Ray Vargas and Jesse Magdaleno.
Well, we know that Roman isn't scared of going anywhere to fight anybody. Like he did when he knocked out and stopped Shun Kubo for the title back in Japan. I think he's also winning some fans in Japan too.
Yeah. He is a no-nonsense, no-frills fighter, and he's becoming crowd-pleasing. Like, this, to me, is entertaining to watch. Just a guy that can operate inside the pocket, show good fundamentals, and then punch a guy consistently.
But he's also not letting his opponent get back into a fight where some guys might.
And the realization is, I keep saying that Matsumoto, does he have a big right hand or left hook? Oh,
body shot from Roman. That staggers Matsumoto a bit.
And Beto, after all those right hands over the top, what does Roman do? He brings it down. That is some real professional craft. That is boxing IQ.
You said that in the 3rd. Keep going to the body, keep going to the body. And finally here in the 10th, one of them buckled the knees of Matsumoto.
And you don't generally see right hands to the body from a right-handed fighter. That usually comes from a left hook, but that is the variation of punches that Roman has shown throughout the night. This has been a very, very impressive display. And again,
back to the body.
Right. So then what he'll do, he goes right over the top.
And then he goes with the left. And Matsumoto's just trying to cover up, and he leaves himself open for that right hand to the jaw.
And look at that head movement. I mean, defensively sound. I bet to me what Roman is the very example that you don't have to be fancy, you don't have to be even really fast. You have to be fundamentally sound, and then you got to have a little bit of imagination and then variation in the way you decide to attack an opponent.
Matsumoto doesn't look like a fighter who's in his first world championship fight.
Well, he knows one thing.
Because he's game.
He understands the level now.
Yes.
And Matsumoto has come in with a big record of KOs, but I think his punch has been taken out of him.
Yep. Well, I mean, he doesn't look intimidated by the moment, but he's getting controlled and dominated by Danny Roman as the 10th round winds down. I think Matsumoto's going to realize there are levels to this, and then there's a world championship level.
some more action from round number 10, and we talked about it, and that was actually a right hand to the chest and to the heart, which I guess technically is a body shot, but you could see the effect that it had. After all those right hands over the top, Roman just brought it down just a little bit, and Roman, for the type of style and aggression he's brought, Beto, defensively, it's about as sound as you can ask for.
It goes back to the matchmaking, the development of a young fighter. You look at who he's gone up against as he's coming up the ranks. Enrique Quevedo, not a big-time name, but you know that that man's going to give you 10 solid rounds. Eric Ruiz, solid fighter. Christopher Martin out of San Diego, solid fighters. Those rounds, that development, you're seeing it on display tonight where you can make your mistakes and learn from them.
And then also the work in the gym.
Yep.
As they say, iron sharpens iron, and there's a lot of iron in Southern California to work with.
And Danny Roman looking solid through 10 here in the 11th round with his WBA 122-pound belt on the line. Matsumoto still game.
I don't know when the last time I was so impressed technically by a right-handed fighter, Beto, that didn't use the jab. I mean, this really is an exhibition that you could be a good boxer in different ways.
Well, when I work with you, it's almost like every single fight, this guy needs to throw his jab. Yeah. Especially with young fighters, they need to develop a jab. Roman has one, but there's no need.
Yeah. There's an old saying in football, if you can run the ball each time for 8 yards, why ever throw the ball?
Exactly. The opponent's going to let you do what you want. That side-to-side movement from the rope, that's just that old school Mexican where they put the rope between two poles.
Yeah.
And they just go side to side, the bends. It's monotonous, it's tedious, fighters hate doing it, but you see Roman doing it here in the 11th.
That is what you call making a habit into muscle memory. And you become to almost do that reflexively. As the old trainers say, hey kid, when you take a punch, don't take a picture. In other words, don't be exactly where you were when you let the punch go. See,
that's a good one right there.
Every time Roman punches, his head is in a different area, or at least his hands come back in a proper defensive position.
I think you tweeted not too long ago about Nuriel Garcia, how after he gets up sparring, he shadow boxes with his gloves on.
Well, that is an Abel Sanchez tradition out there at the Summit. I was there last week, and every time that gym right there with that trainer, they probably stress more shadow boxing before and after than any gym. And Rudy Hernandez, good friend of ours, that goes to all the local gyms, the brother of the late great Gennaro Hernandez.
Well known in Japan, too.
Yes, he believes that shadow boxing is the most important exercise any young fighter and veteran can do. And you see Roman now going southpaw.
The fundamentals really...
It wins out every time. It really does. And Roman, to me, is just fundamentally sound, and now he's becoming entertaining. You know, a lot of those fights you referenced, Beto, I remember them. I don't remember Danny Roman looking particularly spectacular.
They weren't.
But they were very, very instructive to his development.
They were undercard fights. They were nothing really memorable fights. Not that we're knocking the fight or the fighters, but just they're development fights.
Just based on the form we've seen tonight, I think it's going to take a very, very good 122-pounder to take this crown from this man. And you see Roman fighting the last segment of round 11 out of the southpaw stance. And that man right there, Ryo Matsumoto, is going to have to come up with the miracle. He may have not won a round going into the last 3 minutes, Beto, as it looks like Danny Roman is well on his way to defending his WBA 122-pound title. And Beto, just projecting ahead, I think there's a lot of good fights out there for a guy like Danny Roman. 122 has become very, very interesting with champions like Ray Vargas, Magdaleno, and young challengers like Azat Hobanesian. So if he's able to survive these last 3 rounds, the future seems very, very bright for the champion from LA.
A few years ago, Daniel Roman had a loss and a draw, and nobody wanted to sign him. Thompson Boxing took a shot, went at him. He said, that fueled me. I have more hunger than anybody else. Here he is defending his belt, and he comes out the 12th round strong.
Well, Beto, this is the month of March Madness, and Roman's not going into the four corners, and he might have a 30-point lead here. He is looking to make a statement. See, this right here are the actions of a hungry, passionate fighter trying to build not only his profile, but also his resume. He wants to score a knockout. He understands that knockouts do sell, but I think overall, even if he doesn't score it, Roman's put in a very, very solid performance tonight.
He's on a 15-fight winning streak, defending his belt for the first time. And Steve, he's fighting like he's behind on the cards here in the 12th round.
Well, I know one thing Matsumoto's found out about himself tonight. He's got a good chin.
Yes, he does. You know, Matsumoto's a fighter. You'll bring him back against somebody in 122 and realize this guy is very game.
Yeah.
And he's got a beard.
You know, but I do wonder, this fight is the type that will chip away at your battery life. This has been a physically grueling and taxing fight for this tough Matsumoto.
And he's never been in this tough. The one fight where he was stopped, he wasn't hit this much. And those body shots from Roman continue to come in. Halfway through the final round, you can see Matsumoto breathing heavy, trying to go for a home run, but there's not much in the legs.
That was a pretty good uppercut and a right hand that just missed. But again, most of the starch has been taken out of this Japanese challenger.
And Danny's just coming in like, okay, I'm gonna let you hit me. I'm showing I got my own chin. Good fun fight. Roman in the southpaw.
You know, projecting ahead here a little bit, the toughest matchup in this division now that Rigondo, again, I don't know if he's retired or exiled, I think is Ray Vargas with the tall, lanky frame of his.
He's 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, I mean, supermodels wish they had that type of metabolism, but that makes him so tough. But looking at the way he attacked Matsumoto, and again, it's not the same level. Roman Vargas is a fight down the line I think will hold a lot of interest to hardcore boxing.
Big right hand from Roman, buckles the knees of Matsumoto. He stays on his toes though. Oh, a good left hook to the jaw of Matsumoto. Fan friendly, bringing it in his athletic prime at 27. Confidence level too is way different from Danny Roman. Not that he lacked it, but when you're the champ and you can come into somebody's backyard and do this and control a fight, look at him skipping around on those toes. Still bringing it. Final seconds of the championship fight. Daniel Roman, Ryo Matsumoto, they win at it in Japan. And that'll do it. 12 fun rounds if you're Daniel Roman's side.
He didn't get the knockdown or the knockout, but Danny Roman was impressive. That was 36 minutes of consummate, solid, professional prize fighting. What an effort. And I thought this fight was pretty easy to score. Certainly a lot of credit to Matsumoto for hanging in there all 12 rounds, but all 12 rounds, I believe, were controlled by the champion from Los Angeles, Danny Roman. I have it 120, 108. I thought it was an easy call. Danny Roman should go back to his flight to LAX with that WBA title.
Yeah, even when Matsumoto was, you thought maybe was taking a round, Danny would finish it strong and take it right back.
You know, to me, professional boxing is very easy to score. You could talk about ring generalship, defense, and all that other stuff. To me, it's much more simple. Who's punching each other more and harder and more effectively? And in my view, it was that man right there.
Oh, Danny Roman with his team. That's who he went to Japan with, the people in the ring.
Yeah.
That's it. Matsumoto, head down. He could tell the feet on his face.
Well, fighters will know when they're defeated conclusively. This fight certainly was not that close, but I give a lot of credit to that young man. I don't know of a lot of 122-pounders that could have taken that type of shellacking.
ジャッジミカエル・フック、そして同じくジャッジグレン・フェルドマン、119対109以上3対0のユナニマスディシジョンをもちまして、勝者 WBA 世界スーパーバンタム級チャンピオン、ザ・ベイビーフェイス・アサシン。
That's official. They get the cards. The babyface assassin Daniel Roman comes back home to Los Angeles as a unanimous victor. He defends his belt for the first time. He's now 2-0 in Japan.
Bet there was the late great Chick Hearn would say about that decision, which I believe was lopsided. Chick Hearn would say you could have called that in Braille. But he certainly displayed a lot of talent. Danny Roman, complete package now at 122, and I think hardcore boxing fans should be very interested about what the future holds now. And we take a look at those scores: 119, 109 twice, 118, 110. So basically, a couple of judges gave one round to that young man right there, Matsumoto, and the other one gave two. That certainly told the story, and you see Roman getting some plaudits from the local commission. Very, very solid performance from what I think is becoming a very, very solid champion.
And the Japanese fight fans appreciate and respect the fighter who comes in. And Danny said thank you for the recognition. He comes back home with a record of 24-2-1. His 24th victory that you see. He actually has a photographer in his corner. That's D-Comp with him in the blue shirt. And they make him move. All right, well, there you go. Go around. The WBA belt stays on the waist of Danny Roman. A fun fighter, Steve. And the 122-pound division has somebody who's still starting to make some more noise. It's a fighter that you want to see him try to unify a belt with somebody.
Well, I'm just going to say right now, as I've mentioned, 122, it has some action, has some activity, has some American West Coast fighters with good styles. Danny Roman, when you start talking about this division, he needs to be mentioned.
For Steve Kim, Alberto Duran, congratulations to Thompson Boxing and the babyface assassin. Danny Roman defends his belt in Japan for the first time. And the champion that goes to Japan defends his title for the first time here back at Thompson Boxing Promotions. Alberto Duran, Steve Kim, and the WBA 122-pound champion Danny Roman. You might know him as Daniel Roman, but everybody calls him Danny. All right, first of all, I've seen guys who haven't won titles walk around with these made-up belts. Where is your legit belt at? It's to the side. He's so humble that he doesn't want to be that guy carrying it around.
Belts matter.
But
belts matter.
That's exactly what I was going with that, Steve, because you tweet about how belts matter, how guys are saying, I don't want this. But, Danny, you're holding this belt. You defended it. What's that like, man? I mean, Steve and I, we just talk about it, but you actually lived this life.
Well, my first defense in Japan, I had to go all the way to Japan. It felt good going to my opponent's backyard and defeating Ryo Matsumoto, and it gave me even more confidence on myself.
Steve, when I called this fight, this dude was controlling it from the opening bout.
Well, right now he's terrorizing Japan more than Godzilla the last couple of months.
All right, Danny, I know you feel uncomfortable holding it.
Taking a look at the fight, Danny, I thought it was interesting. In calling it, you didn't need to jab because you were closing the distance, and your power punches, you didn't need to go out there and set it up. Did you figure that out early on, or was that the game plan coming in?
No, I figured that during the fight, the game plan was to keep on using more jabs, but I saw that this fight I couldn't use it too much because he was expecting it, so he was going to counter me.
Now, were you surprised that he took so many clean punches? Matsumoto turned out to have a very good chin.
I knew he was going to come in with everything. I knew, I was a challenger the fight before, so I went in with everything, so I knew he was going to come in with everything. He was going to be 100%, so I was expecting that kind of fight, but it is what it is.
You won your belt in Japan. You defended it in Japan. You don't like sushi, so you might want to fight in the United States, right? You want to fight out here now?
Well, I got the mandatory fight against Moises Flores, and hopefully that one will be in the States.
So you do have the mandatory, so that's probably what could be happening, Steve?
Yeah, probably sometime in May or June, or maybe a little bit after. Alex Campanova, the general manager and the matchmaker who helped develop this career, said that is definitely next, okay? Now, the question is at that point, who is the promoter? What is the platform? But, Danny, after your last two trips overseas, on foreign ground, you're playing the road warrior. Do you feel as though anything now can intimidate you in terms of circumstances or environment in boxing?
Doing interviews?
Anything.
Wearing a suit, doing interviews. That's what intimidates Danny Roman. Besides that, in the ring, though, you're good, right?
In the ring, I'll take on anybody. But interviews...
well, you're getting better. We got 3 words out of you. You're not Sal Sanchez yet, but, we're getting
wow.
Danny Roman, WBA champion, 122 pounds. You'll be seeing him soon. Another product of Thompson Boxing making a night happen. And Okay, get out of here, Danny. I know you don't want to do interviews. I know you had a steak waiting for you. It's not sushi. Our fights are coming your way here from Orange County. It'll be Thompson Boxing's Night of Champions, and our ring announcer, the one and only Sonny Franco. Welcome back here to Orange County with the Doubletree in Orange, right down the street from Angel Stadium, or the Big A, or the Edison, whatever it's called these days now, but it's a different kind of atmosphere. Now, you've seen the Thompson Boxing shows that we've showcased on Facebook over the past year. We're still going to have the Facebook party. You know, you get your comments in, but the setting is different. You got to get, Steve, let me help you out here, bro. Let me help you out.
Thank you.
Look, we got to get all suited and booted here. Everybody's wearing a nice suit. Everybody's dressed up. This is a special VIP. They call it Night of Champions, where you have to be invited. No tickets were sold. Even the fighters who are here on the card tonight didn't have tickets for their friends and family, so we encourage you to really get interactive on the Facebook page or the YouTube, whatever you do. Let people know what's going on. We're going to stream it. Only 4 fights your way tonight. But, Steve, we have a pretty good card.
Right, and speaking of this atmosphere, there are no nachos, just filet mignon. So
Right?
they have really classed up the joint here for the Night of Champions. And it'll be a relatively short night, but again, we're headlined by Michael Dutchover from Midland, Texas. Word is we could be going to the land of Mojo later this year, but he kicks off his 2018 campaign. He's 7-0. Certainly one of the very good young prospects that has been signed by Banner Promotions and Thompson Boxing as a co-promotional outfit. They've thrown a lot of money into this career. Ruben Villa, Ruben Torres, and Sal Sanchez. Very good young generation of Thompson Boxing clients. And for Dutchover, his 2018 campaign starts tonight.
And you have a couple fighters that Thompson Boxing is looking at. See them also have a heavyweight on the card, and Henry Ramirez, who usually brings us the nachos. Well, no nachos tonight because he's working the corners. Our man Sonny Franco is inside the ring. He's our ring announcer tonight.
And welcome. Once again, on behalf of Thompson Boxing Promotions, I'd like to welcome you to the Doubletree in Orange, California. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some fantastic night of boxing action coming your way. There's only one question left to ask, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Then without further delay, let's get the party started. Please welcome out of the red corner from Bakersfield, California, here is Derek Clayton.
Derek Clayton coming into the ring. 1-1, 1 KO. There you see him walking in. Bakersfield, California is where he's from. Coming in from Drake. "18 years old. Kern County Fight Club in Bakersfield. Started boxing age of 13. Said here he is now as a professional. Fernando Pineda saying, let's go, Derek. Obviously, you must know him in Bakersfield. Coming in with the red trunks. So as long as he Get involved on the Facebook. Share, share, share. Let people know that we're live right now. We're doing our part. We're
Here is Anthony, the future Franco.
Both fighters coming in some drink. Anthony Franco. The future is his nickname, Henry Ramirez. And Crossroads Boxing is his trainer. Henry actually has 2 fighters on the card tonight. Brandon Trejo, a Thompson Boxing fighter, watching us from the locker room. What's up, Brandon? Junior Camarillo, let's go. Baketown, Bakersfield, heavy hitters. Mike Galvez with Derek Clayton. So Derek Clayton's bringing the crowd on the Facebook. And for those of you watching for the first time, we do really talk to everybody with you. And you see the tail of the tape for this one, Steve?
Yes, both fighters relatively new. Anthony Franco 1-0. Note, though, that came against a 0-5 fighter, so just really dipping their toe into this pool.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We are streaming live around the world on ThompsonBoxing.com from the Doubletree in Orange, California. Tonight, the Night of Champions is proud to present the first bout of the evening, scheduled for 4 rounds of action in the 154-pound weight division. At ringside, your 3 judges scoring the bout, should it go the distance, are Eddie Hernandez Jr., Marty Denkin, and Zach Young. And the man in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Raul Caiz Jr. Fight fans, here we go. Introducing first, fighting under the red corner to my left. He steps in the ring tonight wearing the red trunks with white trim. When he stepped onto the scale, he weighed in officially at 153.1 already pounds. As a professional, his record of 1 win against 0 defeats. That victory coming to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, from Bakersfield, California, here is Derek Clayton. And his opponent, across the ring, out of the blue corner to my right. He steps in the ring tonight wearing the red trunks, trimmed with white as well. When he stepped onto the scale, he went in officially at 153 pounds even. Tonight, his record of 1 win with 0 losses, representing the Redlands, California. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Anthony, the future Franco.
All right, gentlemen, you received the instructions in the dressing room. Know what I expect, a good, clean fight. Legal punches, these are a bit high. Legal punches, here for you. Touch gloves, good luck to both of you.
Raul Caiz Jr., the 3rd man in the ring. We are ready to go for this one. Anthony Franco, Derek Clayton, 4 rounds. These 2 young fighters get going. The scouting report from our man Ryan Scalia, hipster in Canada. Clayton, 18 years old, made his pro debut on the road in Kansas and stopped his opponent. So that's the report on him. His opponent, Anthony Franco, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, sergeant, spent 4 years in the Corps, stationed in San Diego, but he's from the Southern California area, this high desert area, Redlands to be exact. Nicknamed the Future. So that's just the name his family's always given him. He's the youngest kid amongst the clan. So you're the future of the family. And the name's always stuck with him.
There you go. And speaking of the Marine Corps, they disbanded their boxing program, according to him, right after 2012. If I'm not mistaken, Jamel Herring, who's now a lightweight with top rank, was actually a Marine who did represent our country in those Olympics.
Yeah, Jamel Herring, Olympian, now a professional fighter, very active on Twitter. Sounds like he wants to be a commentator. And speaking of Franco, he said he was almost going to go to the Army to fight and continue his enlistment, but decided just to turn pro. That's a good, solid right. He does Anthony Franco. Managed by Henry Ramirez. Staggers his opponent Clayton with the right. Stiff jab.
Let it come to you. Let it come to you. No, don't force it.
Uppercut from Franco.
you go, right at the end of the stick.
Doubling up on the jab.
Clean it up with the hook. Don't get too wide.
Hit with a body shot.
Don't get too wide.
One thing's very noticeable about Franco, he's got a good straight jab, right hand's a little bit wide. That punching frame's not exactly what I'd call a tight one, but he certainly has pretty good understanding of fundamentals. He's working his way around the ring. He also looks physically a little bit bigger than Clayton in there.
Go back to your one jab, 1-2. Set it up with some feints. Keep working. Let him set up.
Clayton had 16 amateur fights. Franco had over 40.
Step.
Opening round, opening bout. Night of Champs for Thompson Boxing in Orange County.
Everything off that stick. Good. He's right at the end. I'm waiting for you to drop it.
That's the voice of Henry Ramirez, manager slash second in the corner.
Everything off the stick. Keep doubling.
Henry known in Southern California boxing circles.
Best known for, of course, having heavyweight contender Chris Areola.
Don't get off the corner.
They were the Oscar and Felix of the boxing world.
Yeah.
I think Areola might have 1 or 2 fights left in him. Not sure
Really?
about his immediate future. I don't think he's officially retired yet, Beto.
Oh, yeah, heavyweights don't have to worry about making weight.
Oh, they don't retire. They just fade away like soldiers.
Good right hand from Clayton.
Hands up. Hands up.
Both fighters coming out winging here in the opening round.
Hands up. Hands up. You feel like you do it again.
Calif jumps in there, separated some 10 seconds ago in the opening round. 4 fights tonight.
One more, 1-2.
And let's everybody get involved on the Facebook, share, let people know what's up. Good round. Fernando Villalobos says, let's go, Derek. Christian Gonzalez, let's go, Derek. I think Clayton coming strong with the followers on the Facebook. Chris Alstad, let you know my bow tie is a clip-on, don't trip. It's very festive for, you know, Jake Forster. Hi, Stephen Bethel. Hope you guys are well.
Hola.
Chaz Macias, let's go, Derek. Mike Galvez, let's go, Derek. Centenario Sarasua. Luis Sarasua actually will be fighting next, a kid out of Texas in Rio Bravo, Mexico.
And Beto, some Thompson boxing news from last night. Roberto Ariaza with
Oh,
a
my goodness.
highlight reel knockout. 1 punch, 20 seconds in against Sammy Valentin. And Sammy Valentin is undefeated against everyone that's not a Thompson boxing fighter. But if you have not seen that, that was a highlight reel knockout on Telemundo last night.
I saw your tweet about it, and I went and looked for it on YouTube.
Had a few seconds, huh?
One right hand,
Ooh,
and,
froze him.
and he buckled him backward. It just, if you have a chance, go and look for that.
Ariaza.
Ariaza.
And Ariaza is another fighter. He's not been on our airwaves, but he has fought at the Omega Products and also at the Doubletree in Ontario. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him, Beto.
Yeah, trains at Legends Gym with Manny Robles and the crew. Edgar Yasso was there with him
Stay
last
tight
night.
when you attack. Stay tight when you attack.
Michael Dutchover, his crew's coming in from Midland. Dutchover will be the main event tonight, so about an hour before you see the kid from Texas.
Interesting tactical battle here. Right now, it is Clayton playing the role of the aggressor with Franco trying to box from the outside now. Even though Franco's the bigger guy, it doesn't seem like Clayton has any hesitation of just stepping right through the front door and trying to be aggressive and trying to bring the action to him. Thought round 1 was a pretty close one. Could have gone either way.
Franco always around boxing. His cousins actually boxed. His mom would leave him with the cousins. The mom said, no, you cannot box. So he had no amateur fights as a kid. He didn't start officially sanctioned boxing until he was in the Marine Corps.
There you go.
His mom would say, no, you can't fight. You can spar your cousins. You can train with them in the garage in Phelan, and if he gets tagged with the right hand. They're like, well, now what does your mom say? He's like, well, she's a big fan. Franco actually a wrestler in high school at Chaparral High in Temecula.
Keep that stick in his face.
Bring that right hand. Let him sit
Mom, Gail Lopez, watching. Sylvia Ornella's his sister.
He's cut. Work on that
There
cut.
you go, son. Good job. Back to the stick now.
And you can hear Henry Ramirez in the background saying, stick to the stick. That means pump out that jab, although he lands a lead uppercut. But I tell you one thing, Clayton is not discouraged at all. He is the one marching forward, and we have another close round with under a minute to go here in the second. And keep this in mind, it's a 4-rounder. Every single minute counts in these really, really short fights.
Keep touching that eye, kid.
Some blood from the eye of Clayton here in the second. Body shots from Clayton. The left eye, a small gash of the 18-year-old there, Clayton out of Bakersfield. Bako. Doubling up the jab is Anthony Franco.
You know, in spots, Franco's done a really nice job of stamping that jab and leading with it. I think Henry wants to see a little bit more of the 1 and then the 2, which is the traditional right cross, right down the middle following the jab. Haven't seen a lot of that classic combination.
Keep him at the end of it,
Just like that, that's it. Hands up, hands up.
Good tight defense, son. Good tight defense.
Mary Matriarch, we heard Saul Sanchez is in the crowd. Any chance you get 5 words out of him? We love that kid. No, Saul Sanchez will not give you 5 words, but he will be on the next Thompson Boxing Show, April 27th. Cindy Adams, Midland in the house. Of course, Michael Dutchover will be the main event tonight. And make sure you go and check out the ThompsonBoxing.com website for all the news and information on upcoming shows. And as always, the social media pages.
Sal Sanchez, you know what they said about him Runtime, right? He speaks softly, but he carries a big stick.
That little guy at 118 pounds does work. Paul Edmond, we see your comment. Steve, you can see that comment. We just will choose to.
Oh, wow. Paul, I appreciate it. And if I ever get that gig, I'll send you my check. By the way, speaking of Sanchez, Emilio Sanchez, I believe, fights next Thursday at Fantasy Springs. I believe you'll be there ringside.
No, I will not be there. I will miss the Ryan Garcia fight, but it'll be the night of Frank Espinoza fighters on the undercard. It's Emilio Sanchez, Joet Gonzalez,
and Raul Curiel.
They will all be there. That'll be on ESPN.
And hello to Mr. Frank Espinoza of the High Flying Espinoza Boxing Club.
Yes, he is. Good story by Steve UCN Live about Espinoza and his fighter Oscar Valdez.
Yeah, I'm just getting dried off from last Saturday.
My goodness. Have you changed your Twitter name? Is it still Soaking Steve?
No, now I'm Stream Kim.
You're
based
Stream
on
Kim?
tonight, yeah.
Stream Kim. Third round of action here. The future, Anthony Franco with the dark red. Oh, we got the close-up. Oh, you can see the bow tie. All right, guys, I got the bow tie. Steve's got his festive green on. You guys want to zoom in a little bit more on this show? My goodness. I'm over here, right in your face right here. All right.
Hands up, circle out.
Good left hook from Clayton.
You know,
body work.
As Henry Ramirez reviews this tape, and again, we don't know if he's going to win or lose. The one thing I think he's going to stress to Anthony Franco is if you're going to work the perimeter, the one place you don't want to be stationary is in the corner. Because when you're cornered, basically there's no way to go. And you can see Clayton has had some success when he's able to pin him in those particular sections of the ring.
There you go. Keep it working.
These fighters don't act like they only have 3 combined professional fights. Franco only 1, Clayton 2. Well, they're calm for being so inexperienced professionally.
Well, I'll say this. This is well matched. It really is. I think Alex Campanova's done a nice job. I wouldn't consider this maybe true 50-50, but it's certainly not anything less than 60-40. Franco has the size advantage, rangier fighter, but Clayton, when he's been aggressive and he's able to place Franco into certain sections of the ring, namely the corner, he's been able to have some success. I think the first 2 rounds were very, very close. I get the sense, though, Franco may have won them both.
And he pushes him back, and Caiz Jr. looking right at him. And Raul don't play. Franco, so really got hooked on boxing watching Fernando Vargas, Tito Trinidad. There he gets hit with the left hook. Now that's a fight that make you a fight fan.
Oh, I was there when they fought. It was December of 2000. One of the most memorable nights at the Mandalay Bay, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, they're barking from the corner of Clayton, cheering on their fighter. Right hand from Clayton.
More than one shot, Franco.
And again, Franco finds himself in the corner, gets out of there.
You know, there are times that Clayton does look like the more fluid, comfortable fighter in there. You could see Franco's pretty good at throwing the jab, not necessarily comfortable shooting off that right hand. You see sometimes as he throws that jab, Beto, he moves inside and he really smothers himself, making that right hand almost ineffective even if he was to throw it.
3 rounds of the books, only scheduled for 4. Roberto Rojas, appreciate you jumping in. Marcos Franco, appreciate you. And our next fight, Luis Saizuo against Edgar Garcia. It'll be Rio Bravo, Mexico against Tijuana. That'll be scheduled for 6 rounds.
Pacific Lake, Venables, Roman and Ryo Rush Truck Center, Thompson Building Materials, and the Warner Corporation. Once again, thank you to all of our sponsors for helping to make tonight's event and every event possible. Thank you.
Mike.
The fighters on this is the 4th and final round.
Calif brings them together. Mike Ione saying it's a good fight. Mike Galvez, pretty close fight. How do you see it, Steve?
I think it could be 2-1 either way. I get the sense Franco got the first 2 rounds. I gave the third to Clayton. I think this fight is up for grabs coming into the last 3 minutes.
There you go.
And of course, Linus, our security blanket from Philadelphia, is certainly watching. Want to say hello to him.
Stay tight.
Darius Harris has Franco up 2-1.
Downstairs too.
Hey, the more commentary you guys have on the Facebook, the more we see. We interact with you guys. I know it's a Saturday night.
Also from the island of Puerto Rico, Jose Sanchez Fournier, one of the leading sports journalists there. Flags are at half-mast because of Felix Verdejo.
What happened to Verdejo?
He got knocked out. It was not a good day. Yeah, not Wepa.
Wait.
But he is certainly watching us.
Diamante got knocked out?
Yes.
All the talking. All right, that's another story.
Yeah.
Hey, but I will be in Puerto Rico next Saturday, Jose. Nos miramos en Ponce. Clayton lands a good shot. You hear the corner saying, stay on, Clayton.
Every time Clayton's been aggressive and he's taken the lead, he has been the more effective fighter. He has made Franco very uncomfortable in there when, again, he initiates the contact and the action.
Franco said, like, he counters. He's been doing that.
When you go to the corner, you let him. All he's doing is loading up.
Hands up, Tom.
You heard Henry Ramirez saying all he's doing is loading up. You can see Clayton trying to hit that home run.
Paint him, man. Throw some face, throw something. You gotta take control. Let's go. Touch
Also,
him.
the voice of Joe Vargas hits him. He staggers up. He's on the hook. Clayton's wobbly right now. Franco sees that. Stabbing him with the jump. Right hand, and he answers back with the right of his own, does Clayton. Doubling up the jab is the future Franco. Oh, a big right from Franco. Clayton went through the ropes and got back. This kid's got a lot of heart. He's eating some big punches here in the 4th and final round.
Get him, Franco! Let the right hand go! Let it go, Franco! Let it go! Let the right hand go!
Clayton trying to land a haymaker of his own. And he lands a shot.
Hands up! Hands up, he's back! Hands up, he's back!
Clayton seems like he's got his legs back a little bit. Now he has Franco in the corner.
Let it go! Walk him down, Franco! Walk him down! 30 seconds, Franco! Hands up!
Fight winding down. Strong round for Anthony Franco as Clayton lands a big shot of his own. These 2 young fighters are fun.
This has been a fascinating 4th round. Just as it looked like Clayton may have been taking charge, it was a left hook off the corner. Franco may have sealed that fight with that rally.
And that goes down as a push. And that'll do it. 4 fun rounds. Kind of wish we had 2 more.
I'm not so sure they do, though.
No.
I'll be honest with you.
I'm being greedy here.
For a 4-round fighter between 2 relative neophytes who don't have big Olympic international backgrounds, this was a very tough fight and a learning lesson for both Anthony Franco and Derek Clayton. My personal scorecard, based on that big left hook, which I think swung the round, I have Franco winning this fight 39-37. And that's probably the best right hand Franco threw all night. He understood how to keep his distance. You see what he does with his feet? doesn't let himself get ahead of himself, and the spacing was there. That's something he had problems with for much of the night. That's one thing that you work on a heavy bag, is just have your trainer sit right behind it and have him throw multitudes of the 1-2, the jab right hand, over and over again. And that really is muscle memory and repetition becoming second nature.
Oscar Ortiz, can we do a bonus 5th round?
Well,
I'm with you, but no, you get paid for 4, bro.
Yeah, they're contracted for 4. I don't think they get overtime tonight.
Darius Harris has Anthony Franco with the win. Paul Edmond, you're right. Nice closing minute. Way to fight back. Junior Chavira watching. ¿Qué pasó, Junior? Make sure you guys share the Facebook connection. As Anthony Franco, the father of 3-year-old James Franco. Cheers to the crowd. Working out of the arena in San Diego, where he now calls home. But he's known Henry Ramirez for a while. Henry is his manager, also in the corner. Joe Vargas is his trainer for the last 4 years. That's a tough fight in your second pro fight. Or in this case for Clayton, the 3rd fight.
Well matched.
You're right, Ryan Scalia. This guy is a lot of huevos. You got something on your Twitter, Steve? Sonny Franco is in the ring. Mike Ione saying this is an awesome thing you guys got going here. You're right. Thompson Boxing decided about a year ago to get into the streaming business, and they told us, Steve and Beto, just do whatever you want. So we out of nowhere just said, hey, we're going to interact with all the fans, and we're doing it. So we really are interactive, and Sonny Franco was also very dapper and interactive.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for both of these warriors? 4 fantastic rounds of boxing action. And now to the judges' scorecards we go. Both Eddie Hernandez Jr. and Zach Young both see about 39-37. Well, Marty Dankins, he's at 38-38, declaring your winner by majority decision, Anthony the Future Franco.
Franco gets the victory. He improves to 2-0. Derek Clayton falls to 1-2. Now, some of you guys are saying this is Clayton's second fight. Officially, the record that we were given is 1-1, but he loses tonight. Good showing, though, for both fighters.
Well, Franco showed an understanding of the jab and how to work the ring. Now, he's going to have to add facets to it. As for Derek Clayton, who now drops to 1-1 or 1-2, depending on where you want to go with that record, he's the type of guy that I believe a lot of matchmakers are going to have on the Rolodex as I go old school there, because he's solid, he's tough, he's competitive, and he gives a good outing out there. I thought a very good showing for both young boxers.
So congratulations to them. Our opening bout, Beto Duran, Steve Kim, here on St. Patrick's Day. The next fight we have coming up, Luis Saizuo against Enrique Garcia. Then after that, heavyweights, Scott Alexander, Pedro Rodriguez, and the main event, Midland, Texas own, Friday Night Live. What's up, Raul? You want to get on camera? You all right over here? What, you bring pliers over here, Kai?
Yeah, you want to know what? This is a referee that goes to work.
Look at he's bringing pliers, bro.
Edgar Ivan Garcia.
El Tijuanero, Edgar Garcia, making his way into the ring, seasoned vet. Saizuo, 29 years old, nicknamed El Profe, the Professor. And
his opponent out of the blue corner from Rio Bravo, Tamaulipas, Mexico, here is Luis Angel, El Caballero Saizuo.
Luis Saizuo. That's what you guys have been waiting for on the Facebook, right, Jose Barron? Al 100 viene El Caballero, the gentleman, Luis Saizuo. Saw him recently on a Thompson Boxing show. Rio Grande Valley. We will not mention another fighter out of Rio Grande who is not fighting with the last name of Figueroa.
Whose name rhymes with Lomar.
Yeah. And here's our tell of the tape, Steve.
Yeah, one thing about the record of Saizuo, began his career in 2011, and then from 2014 till last November when we saw him at the Doubletree was inactive.
Doubletree in Orange, California. Thompson Boxing Promotions continues on with the next bout of the evening. Scheduled for 6 rounds of action in the 137-pound weight division. At ringside, your 3 judges scoring the bout should he go the distance are Eddie Hernandez Jr., Marty Denkin, and Zach Young. And the man in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Jerry Cantu. Fight fans, here we go. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner to my left. He steps to the ring tonight wearing the black trunks trimmed with orange. When he stepped onto the scale, he weighed in officially at 140 pounds even. As a professional, his record stands 6 victories against 15 defeats with 1 bout even. One of his victories coming to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, de Rio Colorado, San Luis, Mexico, here is Edgar Ivan Garcia. And introducing his opponent, fighting across the ring out of the blue corner to my right. He steps to the ring tonight wearing the red trunks trimmed with gold. When he stepped onto the scale, he weighed in officially at 139 pounds even. As a professional, he steps to the ring tonight undefeated. 7 wins with 0 losses with 1 bout even. 4 of his victories coming to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, de Rio Bravo, Tamaulipas, Mexico, here is Luis Angel, El Caballero Saizuo.
I want a good, clean, hard fight, and you will obey my command at all times. Pick him up, good looking.
Jerry Cantu, third man in the ring as we're ready to go. 6 rounds between Saizuo and Garcia.
And we take a look at the tail of the tape. Saizuo 2 inches taller, but he weighed in 1 pound less.
And those of you on the Facebook in Rio Grande, the Rio Grande Valley, Edinburgh, or Westaco, wherever you're at, share it on the Facebook. Let them know that Luis Saizuo is fighting right now. Saizuo with the black gloves, red trunks, Mexico on the side of his trunks. Because Edgar Garcia, 5-15, but Garcia is just that guy that comes in and typical Mexican journeyman. Tougher than a $2 steak, Steve. How do you like that line?
Yeah, or a Salisbury steak.
Oh.
If you want to mix it up here. 3 losses really of note. Angel Ruiz, Emmanuel Medina, and Juan Fuentes all were undefeated when they faced Garcia. And we talked about Saizuo. Made his return to the ring at the Doubletree back in November, scoring a first-round knockout over Luis Silva.
Body work from Saizuo early. He's 24 years old.
And, you know, he just looks like a strong puncher, doesn't he? The way he sets and that technique with that left hook to the body we just saw. Notice that in his corner, his manager Eddie Gonzalez. He's in your corner, you might have a chance. He represents Danny Roman, who we spoke to earlier.
World champion Danny Roman who's here in attendance tonight. Night of Champions here at the Doubletree in Ontario. A VIP invite only. So usually I always tell you I don't have tickets on tonight. Really, I have no tickets. I didn't even know this was VIP. I didn't know it was black tie. I got the bow tie. Saizuo. Good.
Ooh. Well,
See
you
the
could
body
hear,
shots
you
landed.
could hear that left hook to the body.
And his opponent Garcia really trying to get small like Ricky Henderson in the batter's box.
And you know, despite the 3-year layoffs, Saizuo still has time on his side, just 24 years old.
Yeah, that layoff, as he said, promotional issues, rather not talk about it. Basically sat out his contract with Top Rank.
Well, it could be worse. He could have been with Rock Nation Sports. Anyway, another body shot. Oh, he's about to fold him.
And he did. Fold into Garcia, take the knee. Felt the onslaught coming. That's that veteran move of knowing I'm getting hit. Let me take the knee. And don't get up at 8. Wait, get up at 9.5. Cruz Gomez. There you go. Team Saizuo con todo. Lorena para. Vamos, Luis. Well, you're watching your fighter look good right now. The Texan. Body shots, more body. Garcia trying to cover up both sides. Saizuo splitting a guard. Chasing his opponent around. Wincing is Garcia. Trying to get in that turtle shell is Garcia. Vicious body shots. The Texan going to town on the body of Garcia. Sergio Perez watching, appreciate you. Look at the replays from that round.
And Beto, you referenced Ricky Henderson. Well, this was batting practice for Saizuo, who simply let it go, both hands to the body throughout most of round number 1. Got to give Garcia a little bit of credit there. He was game enough. It looks like we will see round number 2 here. But again, Saizuo looks like a legitimate natural puncher. Seems to have a lot of natural strength in that ring.
El Profe, the professor, is getting schooled right now.
Couple of shout outs here. Dishonest Truth.
Hey, that guy's good, man.
You know, they said a lot of things like that about me. Some of my stories. From the 713 in Houston saying hola. Oh, and then one of my favorite guys, 956 boxing coach, the famous James Gogi, checking in.
That's how you say it, Gogi?
James
I like that guy, man.
And of course, the Motor City Left Hook, loyal viewer. Thank you.
Gogi knows his boxing.
Oh, he sure does.
You and he had a good exchange the other day.
Oh, he knows where a lot of dead bodies are. He's like the fixer.
I was going to say you guys were talking about managers, but all right, you want to talk about dead bodies. Okay.
You know what? Same thing. Same thing.
Luis Saizuo, the black gloves, Rio Bravo, Mexico.
You know, and obviously after a 3-4 year layoff, you're going to not be fed steak. This has been Gerber's the first couple of times out, knock out some of the rust, and we'll see where Alex Campanova goes with this in the upcoming months here. This much is clear, though. This guy is strong. He's got good technique, really good balance, commits to the body. And another thing that makes him easy to promote, I think he's got a very fan-friendly style. Now, we have not seen how is he going to react when someone throws back. That's going to be the big question.
I ran into Eddie, his manager, walking in, and I asked him about Luis. He said, this kid needs some fights, needs to shake off some of that rust. Eventually, it might be a decision where they move him out of Texas and bring him to Southern California, where Thompson Boxing is based.
Well, I think
because you can fight more frequently.
Right, and listen, Danny Roman really cuts a lot of his, the iron facing iron. As he gets worn for a low blow there, all that stuff is right on the border. I think being at a legitimate gym is so important day to day for these young fighters. Michael Dutchover decided to make the move, as did Jose Ramirez, who won the WBC title tonight. I think one of the most important moves he made, Beto, was understanding that if he was going to be a big fish in a small pond, he was not going to be able to swim in deep waters. But I think getting that work at Wildcard throughout all these years has really forged a tough, hard-nosed, world-class fighter.
Uppercut from Saizuo. He's trying to go for that home run. He's realizing that Garcia is just like those Mexican dudes. Don't look at their record. It's just they give you rounds. Where are you guys watching this right now? You guys in Texas? A lot of people in Texas watching for Saizuo, obviously.
By the way, Garcia, I got to give him credit. He's actually stepping forward a little bit and making Saizuo take a backward step here and there.
Illustrious Big B watching us, has it hooked up to his TV at home. That's what's up right there.
Fancy.
Big screen TV. I see you, bro. All right.
That is so 2018. On the Hachi Tachi 2000, I'm sure. An old Martin reference.
You so crazy. Come on, Pam. Hey, it was actually a Martin episode recently where they were going to go to a big fight.
Well, the one where they did the pay-per-view party that didn't work out well is one of the greatest episodes ever. Or the one where he fought Tommy Hearns.
Yeah, and the Tommy Hearns one.
And his face got turned into a big chocolate chip cookie. It's one of the all-time iconic scenes from that show.
WZUP, what's up? I told you it's not your traditional broadcast, bro. You can talk about Martin. We'll get there all day. Because Martin's a big boxing fan. Still don't know what Tommy works. We got some people here at Thompson Boxing trying to figure out what they do, too. Dominic Gomez, what's up with 2 Z's? Saludos. Osvaldo Alanes, Team Dutchover. Dutchover will be the main event. You got one more fight before you get to Dutchover.
Oh, and battling Duenas at Calif Soul Snatcher. He is watching us and along with the ESPN broadcast as it began. So thank you very much.
You're dedicated. Third round of action coming your way. Bethel Duran, Steve Kim, and you on the Facebook world. All over. On a Saturday night. Elsa Sweet saying, Vamos Luis, finish him. All right, Elsa. I mean,
there must be a curfew there. Jeez.
And I think he hurt me. As you see Garcia keeping that right hand super high.
And, you know, although we're joking about this, I think this is the best thing for Saizuo. Get some rounds in. We talked about knocking off some of the rust. Old school matchmaker Bruce Trampler, Hall of Famer, always said the worst thing from his perspective was seeing too many first-round knockouts.
And he staggers Garcia back, but look at him, just comes right back at him. Takes 2 steps back, come in, does Garcia. Locks an uppercut. Saizuo trying to work on that uppercut tonight, he's throwing it a lot. This was scheduled for 6 rounds. Saizuo is 29 years old from San Luis Rio, Sonora, Mexico, now living in Tijuana. Good combination from the Texan Saizuo. Lives in Edinburgh, Texas. Solid combinations. Saizuo actually enrolled at South Texas College online, studying criminal justice, also architecture. When Pierre Casintas interviewed him, said, what's your style? He said, I like working the body, I'm aggressive. We've seen that here through the first couple rounds. Because the pace has slowed down.
It has, but you can see what Saizuo's doing now. I think he understands. He's going to have to really chip away at this tough Mexican. So he's starting to put his punches together in a little bit more rapid fashion, taking some of the heat off of some of his shots and then coming back with one hard one in between or to punctuate those combinations.
They're like 2 bulls. They just got their heads on top of each other.
Well,
or rams, I'm saying.
Well, Edgar Garcia really I would describe as Mexican journeyman tough. This is exactly why he was brought to the dance here tonight.
He's going to give you work. He's going to give you rounds. And he's going to frustrate you a little bit.
Right. But I think this is actually good for Saizuo in the long run. I don't know if another early first-round knockout would have really served any purpose tonight.
The more I work with you, the more I am not impressed by first-round KOs.
They really are a mirage, both from the person that does it and also both from the victim. Sometimes a guy just gets caught cold. It could be a lucky punch. But over the course of time, you want to see guys work 18, 21, 24 minutes. That's where you get a true evaluation of any young prize fighter.
Because you look at a guy's record 5-15, I'm going to tear him out. No. Yeah. You got to work and you got to chop, and you learn that sometimes they're picking your pocket. So Flurry at the end of 3. Osvaldo Alanis. Well, yes, we are great and humble.
God, you know what? Agreed.
Agreed. Jesse Vasquez, Midland, Texas in the house. And if you heard, Thompson Boxing might be going to Texas sometime this summer. Artemio Reyes Jr. was happening. You just checked in.
Oh, and by the way, do my Twitter followers come through? Juan Antonio Tena put up a picture on Twitter of Martin Lawrence when he was lumped up by the Hitman.
Oh, that's that dude that always watches. He's got the feet. His dad watches us in Arizona.
And by the way, as we're going down this memory lane of Martin, it was so funny what precipitated that fight. Martin said to Tommy, get Hitman.
Get Hitman.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it was over.
That's
it. Was
it.
over. Ugh.
That's right. The pay-per-view he set up and it didn't work, and everybody's at the house or at the apartment. How many of us have gone to a pay-per-view before we had our own where we could stay at home?
Yeah, and by the way, Battling Duenas put up a picture of the show that's coming up April 14th. Yes, we will be live on the scene. I heard that's going to be a very big event out there in Salinas.
It's close to being sold out already. Salad Bowl, as our man Ruben
Orale.
has told us. We'll be there at the Storm House in Salinas. Steve and I will be showing up Uber XL.
Make sure you drive.
I
am Asian.
We better get another driver because I'm drinking that wine.
But anyway, back to the fight.
Night of Champions here at Thompson Boxing. As you can tell, we're loose on a Saturday night. There ain't no Zimas here yet. Fourth round of action as Edgar Garcia in the black trunks. Aguanta el Tijuanero.
Now, this is going to be interesting for Zaragoza. He nearly scored a first-round stoppage. Now he's into the fourth. I guarantee you he probably didn't anticipate this. Let's see how he finishes the back end of this fight. See what's in that gas tank.
Trained by his dad, Jose Luis Saizuo. Started boxing age of 9. His uncles fought professionally. Dad been the trainer since day one. It's another thing, as you progress, you know, Saizuo fought for a while. And you progress and you fight guys. And you're right, Steve. Nothing like experience.
Well, listen, as he moves back up the ladder and gets back into the groove, he's going to fight better guys than Garcia, which means I'm assuming he's going to go late rounds. This is actually a good gauge. And a bit of a reality check. He just got hit by a right hand over the top. Stuff like this will ground the fighter. It will give them a dose of reality.
Like, you can never judge what's going on by what a fighter's body looks like, or their record. I mean, there's some guys that come in at 18-0, 17 KOs, and it's all inflated, and they get stopped by a journeyman.
You know what's impressive about Garcia? He's doing some pretty good work. This is not true survival mode. He's actually...
This is his style.
This is actually what he's doing. And he's landing some pretty good overhand rights. He's been very sneaky about it. He's actually drawn Zaragoza asleep and then flashed right over the top with that right hand.
Garcia actually won his last fight via TKO third round. His first ever stoppage. He's never won back-to-back fights. That's the kind of fighter that he is.
Well, so we could never call him streaky.
No. But he's a guy, not that he's winning rounds or he's landing big punches.
But he's game. He's game. He really is.
He frustrates you. Little blood from the nose of Luis Saizuo. And that body shot lifted Garcia. Good flurry to end the round for Saizuo. And Garcia looks at him like, all right, yeah, there you go. And speaking of Salinas, there you see it. Fancy artwork. Get your tickets now at ThompsonBoxing.com or hit up Ruben Villa. Laurent Mitchell's on the card too, huh? Okay. You'll see Brandon Trejo, Max Becerra, Bruno Escalantes, Alberto Torres, Pedro Moreno at the Storm House.
Yes, and by the way, the main event tonight is Michael Dutchover, who's co-promoted by Thompson Boxing and Banner Promotions, led by Artie Palullo, who sent me a very long text.
Oh my goodness,
explaining the background of St. Patrick's Day, which is too long to read, but we want to say hello to Artie Palullo and Matt Rowland, obviously watching on the East Coast. Artie, Matt, hola.
Artie, if it was up to me, I would have Steve read the text verbatim, but
oh my God,
I'm on Artie's side.
Oh my God, this is pathetic.
So
Duran,
something
Jeez.
about St. Patrick and a snake, right? It's like Cinco de Mayo with Mexicans. The only people who celebrate it are not the Mexicans.
Yeah, and the two Mexican beer companies.
Yeah. Fifth round, Luis Saizuo in the red trunks. Edgar El Profe Garcia in the black. Been all Saizuo. Some blood from the nose of Saizuo.
That last round, Garcia whizzed a couple of right hands over the top, lulled him to sleep, and these are the things that Saizuo is going to watch on film, and they're going to realize one thing: there is a lot of things to work on as they begin this rebuilding process.
Yeah, a lot of positives, but it's also things that you go back and you look at the tape, and here we go. It's okay to have constructive criticism. Right hand by
Another
Garcia.
one.
And a fighter who had more power probably do some damage with that.
Yeah, and at the same time, if he had more power, I don't think Alex Campanova
No,
would have
don't put him
dialed
in
his
there.
number. But this is, again, we talk about a dose of reality.
Oh, that hurt. That
You're
hurt.
going to realize one thing. You could pitch all day. There's going to come a time you're going to have to catch.
Body work again from Saizuo. He's done a real nice job attacking the body tonight. As Garcia is looking at Jerry Cantu.
Hit the sides and up the middle of the uppers. Vámonos, el gancho bajo.
Real steady is Saizuo, the gentleman, el caballero. Ruben Espinoza, professor. My VIP invite must have got lost. No, it didn't. Nobody got one. We don't know anybody got the VIP.
Vámonos, Luis.
And of course we're flying private jets to Salinas. You know it, baby.
Tienes que tirar más, Luis. Nomás con un golpe no vas a acabar. Fuerte, ven, fácate.
Yeah, that private jet is from Southwest. But I got to tell you, the one thing that Saizuo's corner's going to really harp on, defending that right hand. More than once, the last round or two, Garcia's been able to break that guard and really hit Saizuo flush right on the chops. And a lot of times when that happens, Beto, it's very simple. You get into a false sense of confidence, almost like you're working a heavy bag and you don't bring your hands back in proper defensive position or tuck your chin and be in the right distance. But again, a lot of rust to knock off here.
La derecha, Luis. Eso. Otra vez. Body up the middle. Body up the middle.
Final seconds of the fifth round. Solid round for Luis Saizuo. It's a very game. Edgar Garcia.
Ahí está. Ahí está.
Sharon, oh, no, different tweet. Our next fight, Scott Alexander, Pedro Rodriguez, the heavyweights coming your way. Alex Godinez says, Steve looking awfully Mexican today. Today? Steve's the king of Montebello. What are you talking
And
about?
all I can say to that is Orale.
Orale, there you go. Battling Dueña, so thinking about taking my son to his first fight. Yeah, take him to a Thompson show. You'll have some fun. Joe Sanchez Fournier, ¿qué pasó?
Huepa.
I will be in Puerto Rico next Saturday for an ESPN 2 show. I think we're going to be in Ponce. So, Jose, I'm looking for some mofongo, some gasolina, and some Bad Bunny.
Here we go, my man. Put your hands together and cheer the fighters on. This is the sixth in final round.
Shelby Eleanor, you're watching Luis Saizuo and Edgar Garcia. Mark Perez, you're right, getting those rounds in. Sixth and final round. Trini Cervantes, what's up, Trini? With the hands.
Oh, loyal caller and listener to the next round. Want to say hello to Trini.
Yeah. Lorena Para, le vamos Luis. Laura Cruz, síguelo. Mike Ruiz wants a KO here.
Finish the round strong. Dale presión, Luis.
How would Luis get a knockout here, Steve?
Well, listen, I don't think he is. It seems to me like he's even resigned himself that this guy simply isn't going to go anywhere. In fact, Garcia's impressed me in one sense. I think in the back half of this fight, he's become a little bit more offensive in a very sneaky way.
Ciérralo, Nacho, ahí lo tienes. ¡Vámonos!
Sneaky, that's a good way to
¡Saca
put it.
todo! ¡Vámonos! ¡Otra vez!
Body shot
¡Vámonos!
again.
¡Vámonos! ¡Síguelo!
Another solid body shot.
¡Acábalo, Luis!
But Saizuo lands one at a time, though, right?
No, he does. But, you know, there are times he is putting them together. One thing I like about him, has really good balance. He throws his punches well fundamentally. But, again, we are talking about a guy that took off 3-4 years.
You can spar as much as you want, but until you actually take the headgear
here's
off,
the
right?
problem. If you spar for years, you eventually just become a sparring partner. You get used to fighting with the headgear, 16-ounce gloves, and that's what you become. That's the danger with these long layoffs.
¡Mira, Luis! ¡Miramos al ombligo! Cuando le tires un golpe, cuando se lo pegues, Pili, disculpas, güey. ¡Tírale!
Time to throw.
¡Tírale, Manuel!
They're urging Luis to finish strong on Facebook and in his corner. It's solid work in going 6 rounds in your second fight back from a long layoff. He'll go home and you can feel the fatigue on him. You know what you have to work on. A lot of positives tonight for Luis Saizuo.
I think what this will give him is perspective of exactly where he is. I think in the long run, this is exactly what his handlers would want, though.
Main event coming up, Michael Dutchover, Ricardo Lopez, Shelby Eleanor. We have one more fight after this one, so 4 fights total here on the Thompson Boxing stream. Pero no son taxistas, maybe Uber.
One of the real positives tonight is that Zaragoza, he's going to know now in his own mind he can go 6 rounds. That's one of the great things about being extended the distance by these rugged, tough veterans like Garcia.
And he looks good conditioning-wise, gets the work, dominates the fight, had good flurries. And Edgar Garcia does what a journeyman does. Comes in, makes it tough, gives you work. But the crowd thanks him and cheers him on. So how'd you guys see it on the Facebook? They go 6 rounds. I think we can all agree who won. John Norman hooked up to the big screen for Michael Dutchover. Norman Elite. MD Strong. Tell you, they're coming strong in Midland, Texas. All right, I'm going to ask a question here for those of you from Midland right now. If we do go, by we mean Thompson Boxing, where would Dutchover have his fight at?
Ooh.
Like, I got to ask this question. Like, I don't know anything about Midland. I just know it's in Texas.
I have an idea.
You have an idea, Steve?
How about the football field for Odessa Permian? That would be a dream come true after reading that book, which, by the way, wasn't that popular with the natives.
So out of curiosity, where would it happen at? Is there like a big stadium there, or is it an arena? Because from what it sounds like, especially reading this, the Horseshoe Arena. Now, Sergio Galindo, don't lie to me, man. Don't be telling me that there's a Horseshoe Arena and I'm going to say it and then you're lying. People are messing with my emotions. All right. Oh. All right. Don't be lying to me about this Horseshoe Arena. And what is it, if it really does exist? Paul Edmond, Apple TV plus Thompson Boxing Stream, solid evening. Attaboy, Paul. Now share it, let people know. All right, so people are saying the Horseshoe Arena. All right, it does exist. I had 3 people say it. Double check your sources. How many people does the Horseshoe Arena seat? And we'll get an answer. Sonny Franco is going to tell us who won.
Ladies and gentlemen, about a big round of applause for both of these warriors. 6 fantastic rounds in the books, and now to the judges' scorecards we go for the official decision. Eddie Hernandez Jr. sees about 59 to 54. While Marty Dakin and Zach Young both see about 60 to 53. Declaring your winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated, Luis Angel El Caballero.
Luis Saizuo goes home with his 8th victory. Congratulations to him. Had to work for it, but he got it. Got the victory. And Michael Dutchover will be the main event tonight, Midland, Texas. Coming up next, though, Scott Alexander, Pedro Rodriguez, the heavyweights. Keep writing your answers. Now there's some more people talking about where we could go in Midland. Oh, there's a battle of locations. And coming up, though, the heavyweights, Scott Alexander, Pedro Rodriguez. He'll have his different stories in the week. He does features, but he also has news. He has the pulse of boxing because he's getting messages from managers and promoters as we speak.
By the way, I was going back and forth with Tom Loeffler, and I told him I was here at the private show, and I'll show you this, Beto. He actually asked, do they have carne asada there? Wow.
Not. I think they have filet mignon.
Yeah, but carne asada, because, you know, Golovkin's promoter. Anyway, couple... That went right over your head.
No, it didn't. It hit me right between the eyes.
Oscar Valdez, I was out there last week, wet, rainy night out there. Jaw was wired shut on Monday. According to Frank Espinoza, who's been with this fighter throughout this process, they went in for their checkup. He'll be in that condition for about 5 to 6 weeks. They don't believe it's going to alter his career. Now, we don't know until he gets hit, but it's still unsure if we're going to see him again in 2018. I thought last week, I don't want to say they cheated the system, but they certainly gamed the system when a fighter who doesn't make weight then comes in above the junior welterweight limit. Quigg looked awfully big, and the whole night, Valdez was facing a hard-charging big guy, and you saw what happened. But, well, what a victory for Oscar Valdez last week.
Yeah, I'm looking up the Night of the Champions. They have these awesome raffle prizes going on right now, and you bring them in, you talk to them, and employees of Thompson Boxing not eligible for prizes. So we'll keep on talking. Lomachenko, Linares, what's the latest on that?
It's a done deal. They didn't want to announce it this
done.
Yeah, it is done. Book your flight on Orbitz. Go to Ticketmaster. Tickets, I believe, will go on sale next week. Top Rank and ESPN did not want to announce the fight while they had a fight. Both confirmed in off the happened at the famed Madison Square Garden early start time, so Golden Boy can have their HBO card, which will feature the rebroadcast between Gennady Golovkin and Saul Alvarez. So everyone kind of worked together. It's like the Camp David Peace Accords.
I know. I was a history major for a couple weeks. That means if it's in New York, Jimmy's Corner is going to be lit.
People, stay away from there or the back table. That's mine. Mine, I say.
All right, we couldn't do a show without asking our Filipino amigo, our hermano, Manny Pacquiao. What's the latest with him?
Well, Manny is telling everybody that the Lucas Matisse fight is done, which is news to Lucas Matisse and Golden Boy.
Really?
I don't know why he made the announcement. I think he's under the pressure of certain people. I believe the people in Malaysia, they want to know that there's some sort of fight in the offing. But I can assure you this, the fight may or may not happen. It is not done yet, and there's still a lot of things to work out in terms of the Golden Boy side. My understanding is that Lucas Matisse wants to know who is the commission, who'd be the judges. Also, this is kind of important.
But don't you ask those questions?
Well, yeah,
normally?
right. Well, the other question that Lucas has, and it's kind of pertinent, is who the hell would be paying me? So, again, you know,
that's important.
We've heard for about 20 years fights in Dubai, you know, these exotic lands, that oil barons and sheiks that want to put up money. How many of those have actually happened?
You
know, it doesn't happen that often. So
ever?
Manny, to me, I think has some issues with the IRS. I don't think we'll ever see a fight
is that
here.
what it is?
Right. So that's why he's going to fight everywhere but the good old US of A. Now, the way I look at it, Lucas, my understanding is, he's a little bit uneasy about not fighting him in America. But if they do put up the money, if the only chance he has to fight Manny Pacquiao is in Malaysia or Mars, based on the way he looked, I think you have to take that opportunity.
Oh, let's see here. Okay, what do you guys have over here on the Michael Dutchover? We'll get into the Michael Dutchover people talking. It's the horseshoe, and also there's people sending us pictures of the horseshoe and also the Grandy Stadium. So we'll see that. Our next fight is coming up. It's the heavyweight, Scott Alexander, Pedro Rodriguez, and the man with the muscles, Sonny Franco.
Here we go, my fans. Let's get the action going once again. Please welcome out of the red corner from Houston, Texas. Here is Pedro El Regulator Rodriguez.
Oh, little fabulous Cadillacs coming in. Little Matador. That was in the movie Gross Point Blank. Here's Pedro Rodriguez, 30 years old, Houston Texan. Actually born in Cuba, now living in Houston, just like Erislandi Lara. Puro Dueñas, nice bow tie. That's right, what's up, baby? I get festive. Oscar Aguirre, saludos de Tijuana. Y saludos a los Toros de Tijuana y también el buen amigo Chevale. Bombi Cordero, saludos. Adrián González from Miguel Monteleongo. The third Drake song we've heard tonight. 3 fights, 3 Drakes. It's Scott Alexander making his way. Originally from South Central, now living in Riverside. Heavyweight. Shelby Eleanor says, I'd like to see Oscar Valdez against Christopher Diaz.
You know, there's actually talk of that.
Really?
Yeah, with Lomachenko moving up to 130, that BO title, which I call We're Bob's organization. Diaz is at 130, and Valdez may soon be there. So that is certainly a possibility. And we take a look at the 2 records. Scott Alexander, definitely a much prettier one than Pedro Rodriguez.
Once again from the Doubletree in Orange, California, Thompson Boxing Promotions is proud to present a co-main event of tonight, scheduled for 6 rounds of action in the heavyweight division. At ringside, your 3 judges scoring this bout are Eddie Hernandez Jr., Marty Denkin, and Zach Young. And the man in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Raul Caiz Jr. Fight fans, here we go. Introducing first. He steps to the ring tonight wearing the colors of Cuba, red, white, and blue. Ladies and gentlemen, when he stepped onto the scale, he weighed in officially at 242.5 already pounds. As a professional, he has 26 fights to his credit, including 23 victories against 3 defeats. 18 of his wins come to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, from Houston, Texas, by way of Havana, Cuba, introducing Pedro El Regulator Rodriguez. And introducing his opponent, fighting across the ring out of the blue corner to my right. He stepped in the ring tonight wearing the red trunks trimmed with silver. When he stepped onto the scale, he went officially at 234 solid pounds. As a professional, he has 17 fights to his credit, including 13 victories against 2 defeats with 2 bouts even. 7 of his victories come to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us tonight from Riverside, California, here is the hard-hitting Scott El Uno Alexander.
Gentlemen, you received the instructions in the dressing room. Know what I expect? A good, clean fight. Ya recibieron las instrucciones con una pelea limpia. Legal punches, here for you. Los legales, here for you. Touch gloves, good luck to both of you. Buenas tardes a los dos.
Beth Durant, Steve Kim, and you all over the Facebook pages. Here's the tail of the tape. 6 rounds in the heavyweight division, Steve.
Yeah, and certainly heavyweights. Alexander 234, Pedro Rodriguez at 242.5.
And we see all the comments about where Michael Dutchover should fight when he goes back to Midland, Texas. We'll get to that in his fight. So save your comments. Grande Stadium, people talking about it. The Horseshoe, we'll get all into it. Right now we're watching the heavyweights. Scott Alexander, 28 years old. His people coming strong on the Facebook. Whitney Nelson, Franco Alexander. And what is that?
Well, it looked like Pedro was trying to play whack-a-mole there with that right hand. Wow.
Alexander living in the Inland Empire now with Henry Ramirez, his trainer. Nickname Uno, El Uno, because in Henry's gym they said he was the only one that was African American. And I tell you, I do investigative journalism. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, he's like, yeah, I was the only one in there, so that became my nickname. Es el Uno, the one. And Scott actually makes the joke now. He just needs some green to go on his trunks to make it with the Mexicans. He's around them all in that gym. So he's had a lot of fun with it. The Cuban coming in, much bigger fighter. Only 3 losses. The biggest for him, he lost to Alexander Usyk back in 2015. Big right hand by the Cuban.
And Usyk, who was one of the premier cruiserweights in the world, stopped him in 7 rounds back in December of 2015. Usyk now will be facing Murat Gassiev in the finals of the World Boxing Super Series. That could be backed up from May to midsummer. That's the word. You know, Alexander certainly looks like the better athlete, quicker. Looks like he has cleaner technique. But round number 1, it's been Pedro Rodriguez kind of taking the fight to him, being the aggressor.
Alexander was actually a football player in high school, bounced around 8 different high schools. Started off at Crenshaw, ended up at Rancho Verde in Moreno Valley. Was actually getting some looks football-wise, but said grades weren't going to be able to transfer to colleges. One of his coaches told him all about the All-American heavyweight program that was started in Carson, and that's what he did. Got involved with it. Produced Dominic Brazil, Gerald Washington, Charles Martin.
Charles Martin eventually became a belt holder for about 15 minutes.
Yep. And Alexander had no amateur boxing background at all. He had no amateur fights. So in the ring, all of his fights have been as a professional. That's why he's 13-2-2. He said he'll take a fight anywhere.
You know, you look at Alexander's form and the way he holds his feet and his hands. He looks pretty good. He does not look like a complete neophyte. His form and technique is actually pretty solid. I do think he probably needs to initiate a little bit more of the action and try to back up Pedro Rodriguez as we go into the 2nd round.
See what you guys are saying on the Facebook. Whitney Scott saying, Whitney Nelson checking in. James Turner, you're right, it is Drake night tonight. Everybody's coming in with some Drake. Steve, they want to know what happened to Omar Figueroa, Adrian Broner. Oh, you're laughing? No, I think it's a legit question.
What happened was Omar Figueroa happened. I thought that fight was a train wreck from the very beginning. It would have actually surprised me if it would have gone off, to be honest with you.
Jesse Vargas will step in as the new opponent for Adrian Broner. I like how you laugh right away, huh? Remember, we got a lot of people from the Valley in Texas. They're going to come after you, Steve Kim. Steve, UCN Live. He does use the mute button.
I block liberally, too. Now, let's see here in round number 2. If Alexander, who has the quicker hands and the better technique, let's see if he decides to initiate a little bit more. Take more of the play away from Rodriguez.
Troy Williams checking in, our man. You're watching the heavyweights, second round, and after this will be the main event, Michael Dutchover. No Irish music for the walkouts today.
Don't wait in front. You got to step around after.
Big swing and a miss by the Cuban. Cuban just going to load up on one shot, huh? If that's a scouting report on him?
Well, look, based on the physique, Pedro Rodriguez, he's not going to make the cover of Muscle and Fitness, but he does seem comfortable inside that ring.
263 is what he was weighed in at.
And not a pound less.
Actually, I'm sorry. 242.
I think that's being generous.
Yeah. He's had a fight at 260.
Work when you're there, Scott.
Andrea Nelson, Moreno Valley checking in. Thompson Boxing Night of Champions. VIP, invite-only event.
He shot his load already. He's tired, Scott. He shot his load already.
All right, you can hear in the background, Henry Ramirez believes that the gas tank or the odometer of Rodriguez has already hit E.
Yeah, there's no sensors here, baby.
Right, so at this point, if you're Alexander, you got to step right inside the pocket and be first. Be first and try to knock this guy back.
Scott, in the clinches, you got to walk around it. Walk around it, walk around it, walk around it. Step over. Step over.
Steve, Troy Williams says, be careful. Gorditos have feelings too.
No, you know, I'll give Pedro Rodriguez this, though. He has a natural fighting instinct in a sense that he's very comfortable in there. But I think Henry has touched upon something. His conditioning is not great. You could just kind of assume that from his appearance. But look, he is taking the play from Alexander, and when Alexander, who is not a natural boxer, is forced to react and counterpunch, it's not really, if he does anything well, I don't think it's that.
Alexander served as a sparring partner for Dominic Brazil, big 6'7", 260-pound heavyweight. Only loss to him was to Anthony Joshua, where he was stopped. So he said he goes all over Southern California to get sparring.
Good. There you go. Shoot it, shoot it. Top or bottom, it's there.
So now you see him jabbing and he feints. That's a good way to offset the timing of Rodriguez. But again, he's got quicker hands. He's a better athlete. Let's see if he comes right down the middle with the 1-2.
Cover your mouth when you jab. Cover your mouth when you jab.
Boy, that's the second
the back
time.
of the
Boy,
head.
those rabbit punches are so dangerous.
So Celia Cruz jamming here at the Doubletree in Orange. Make sure you follow Thompson Boxing's all the social media pages. Pierre Casintas, a one-man band doing it all. And if you missed the fight, or if you want to let people know, it'll be live on Facebook right now, but then it'll also re-air where you can go and check out the Thompson Boxing YouTube page.
Oh, and speaking of that, one of the real solid guys out there on press row, a new father, Francisco A. Salazar, checking in. Francisco, hola.
The 805, a coach, teacher, soccer coach, actually coached JV baseball too, if I'm not mistaken.
And a referee, breaks up a lot of fights on campus.
And on Twitter.
For what I understand.
And on Twitter. Frontiles College saying, you got this, Scott. Collins, you from Carson? What's up? 90745 and 46. Celia Cruz. Azuca. We're third round of action. This one's scheduled for 6, the heavyweights. Just something about a heavyweight fight, just completely different vibe.
It is, because a lot of the times there is the weight limit, which is completely non-existent, and you're going to see weight discrepancies, and there's always something. There's that axiom that any heavyweight can really punch. That literally one punch at any time can turn around a fight. We saw a good one recently between Deontay Wilder and Louis Ortiz about 2 weeks ago. Certainly a memorable battle between two big men.
Cuban Ortiz, just like the Cuban Pedro Rodriguez, now living and training in Houston, Texas.
Beat him to the punch. Good job. He's only trying to get lucky now.
You can hear Henry Rodriguez. That's the Henry Ramirez, the voice of the corner. A boom mic real close to him.
Right, and he's saying be first. That's exactly what it means. Be first with your punches.
He's tired, Scott.
Give him a reason to get out, kid. Give him a reason. Let's go.
There you go.
Body shot.
Step around him.
Cuban says no. Shakes his head.
Don't get careless.
Keeps coming.
Excellent.
Keeping that high guard up is the Cuban.
You gotta slide.
Trying to load up on a right.
After you punch, you can't come back to the same spot. You gotta move.
Good instructions from Henry in the corner.
But see, this right there has to frustrate Henry. You see the way he lays back Alexander on his back foot, and he's letting the pace slow. And he's letting Rodriguez kind of pick his spots.
Guy got knocked there. You can double it up now.
Where it's the Cuban Rodriguez. Looks like he's taking the ring generalship.
Yeah, I mean, he's giving the impression that he's controlling the action because he's the one in the center of the ring kind of coming forward. You could just hear it from Henry. Henry wants more activity in terms of punch volume from his man. Also, be first and then be last.
Move your feet after you slide. After you punch, move your feet.
Body shot.
Do not reach.
Well, these guys just throwing one punch at a time. Nautica Nelson going bold on the Facebook, all capital letters. Let's go, Scott.
Scott, slide out.
Hey, Nautica, you're saying it.
Turn.
His corner's saying it. Now your fighter needs to follow this.
Scott, turn. There you go. Step out now. There you go. Step out. Turn up. Step out to your right.
You know, Alexander at times does show some really good flashes of fundamental technique, but we're dealing with a steep learning curve given the fact that, again, he joined that All-American heavyweight program. I remember that. That was actually based out of the Rock and Carson.
Yep.
And a lot of these guys, in fact, all of the guys were not fighters. They were athletes who decided that they wanted to continue their athletic pursuits in a very, very foreign field. And I don't know if they will ever have the real mental aptitude or the boxing IQ like many of these other guys do that start off young in this game.
Well, that's something that Alexander was saying. He said, I know every time I go into the ring, my opponent has more experience than me, because a lot of these guys were boxing when they're 5 years old.
Yeah.
They were skipping rope. He literally had to learn how to skip rope when he walked in there. Shelby Eleanor wants to remind you, Steve, hey, the hefty guys, they also got Andy Ruiz Jr.
Andy Ruiz last week came back after a long layoff, scoring a first-round knockout of Devin Vargas. That's a very talented guy. I hope he sticks his nose to the grindstone. I think he can still make some noise in this heavyweight division.
Ruiz, out of Mexicali, now training at Legends Gym with Manny Robles and Edgar Jasso. Got on a meal prep program and everything. Oh, no, seriously, he did. He slimmed down, fought at 260.
Good. He's breaking it. Mix in a feint now. Give him a little feint. There you go. Get him biting. Let's bring it around. Good.
Fourth round is scheduled for 6. The next one after this, the main event, Michael Dutchover.
And look at Alexander. Look at that segment right there. He looks like a fighter right there. He does not look like a football player who just took off the shoulder pads 15 minutes ago, flailing at the air. His technique is solid. Looks like he has a command. What is missing is that natural instinct of knowing when to attack and when to initiate. And that is something that I think Henry Ramirez, that's why he's so vocal in the corner. It's almost like he has to be that jockey on top of that horse, literally riding him every second of the way during a fight.
Solid right by the Cuban, Pedro Rodriguez, nicknamed the Dart. 300 amateur fights He was part of that Cuban boxing system.
Mixing that body. He can say no all he wants. He felt it. Trust me. Good.
Carlos Carlson, the fighter watching us. Saludos.
Former title challenger.
Yeah.
Let him get back, man.
Troy Williams wants to know, what do you think Usyk will do at the heavyweight, Steve?
That's an interesting question. In this era of the power forward sized heavyweight, I don't know how he would fare against the real big guys. But you know what, Beto? Deontay Wilder in his last fight was 214. I believe Usyk probably walks around.
214?
Yeah, he was an old school heavyweight, and against that version of Wilder, now I think the power certainly would be dangerous. But Usyk, pound for pound, is probably a more skilled guy than Wilder. But again, how would he be able to take that punch?
Mike Ruiz, thank you for joining us tonight. Welcome to the show. Oscar Ortiz, you're right. Salió bravo el cubano.
Right in his chest. Put it right in his chest. Good. Bring that right hand up. Bring that right hand up. You look at the time.
Right hand by the Cuban.
See, that's one thing that has to frustrate Henry again. He lays up on the ropes, and he basically gives Rodriguez time to kind of think about a right hand and throw it.
Uppercut by Rodriguez. And you hear Henry saying, get off the ropes. El Uno's not listening.
Work and get out, Scott. Put your head over on the other side and slide out.
Oscar Garza, your boy Saizuo with the distance 6 rounds. Looks solid. Jab, the mouthpiece comes out. The jab and it came out. Gentlemanly there.
Yeah.
It's all right. Let's both take a break here. Usually you see mouthpiece is like, all right, we're gonna keep on fighting. These guys are gassed right now. End of the 4th round. Right hand by Alexander.
You stunned him. There you go. You stunned him.
Main event coming up after this one. Michael Dutchover, Ricardo Lopez, 6 rounds, lightweight division. Everybody from Midland, Texas. I know you guys are waiting for that one, and there you see him. He doesn't have a nickname. Just a kid, a proud Texan, now living in Southern California. Yes, he is wearing cowboy colors. That robe, as the doctor has been called into the corner of the Cuban.
Not sure what's going on there, but I tell you, those 2 or 3 pretty good right hands landed by Alexander at the end of round number 4.
And the fight is over.
It's over.
The fight has been stopped as they go to the corner. As the Cuban looks like he's in pain. He's holding on to his right hand. Let me get up there and ask.
Pretty good stuff there from that young man right there. Scott Alexander, again, not the most experienced guy, Beto, but you could see some of the athleticism. There are certain times that he puts it together and he flashes, but you could see that there's going to be a lot of work done. Keep this in mind, though, just 28 years old, which by relative comparison to other weight classes, still young. So Alexander moves to 14-2-2, and we're trying to figure out exactly why did Pedro Rodriguez call it a day after 4 or 5 rounds. He was certainly right in that fight. In fact, Beto right now is talking to the corner, and I think they are saying that the right hand may have been injured as Beto get back on the can. Beto, what were you told by the corner?
Right knuckles, he feels like something broke in his hand. That was the call of the Cuban fighter Rodriguez. He's the one who told the corner, that hurt, I can't go on. So it was his decision to stop it. And he looks like he's in a lot of pain right above us, Steven. Yep. Holding that right hand gingerly. So it'll be a TKO stoppage for Scott Alexander. Good experience for him.
It's a work in progress with that guy. Still more of an athlete than a fighter, but you look at his technique, you look at his form. There is something there, though, but I think Henry more than anyone knows This has to be a slow process. Can't microwave this one.
Francia Alexander. Andrea Nelson. Oh, happy for the victory for Scott Alexander. As Sonny Franco was in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes. 3 minutes of the 4th round. At the advice of the ringside physician, the fighter in the red corner could not continue due to an injury to his hand. Therefore, he is your winner by TKO. Out of the blue corner, from Riverside, California, Scott El Uno Alexander.
Scott Alexander gets a victory, his 14th of his career, as Pedro Rodriguez falls for the 4th time in his professional life. Hands up for Scott Alexander Luno, now calling Riverside home, but South Central Los Angeles was he was born and raised. Bethel Duran, Steve Kim coming up next. Michael Dutchover in our main event. And you're right, Dutchover has no nickname. Oh, look, Malia Alexander, that's my brother. You know, if he's related to you and he's your brother, then you can go all capital letters and bold on the Facebook. Ruben Cuellar, I get it, man. You have a bunch of hashtags, bro. You know these hashtags this guy has.
Whoa.
Come on, man.
Whoa, Ruben. Ruben.
We're on your side, Ruben, but come on.
Jeez.
He's there.
Jeez.
Where we go? Sonny Franco again? Oh, Sonny.
All right, my friends, let's get the action going for the final time tonight. Please welcome out of the red corner from Baja California, Tijuana, Mexico. Please welcome Ricardo Lopez.
El Fantasma is what he's walking into. Vengo a aclarar. That's the song chosen by Ricardo Lopez desde Tijuana. Y saludos, Nani Hernandez. El Explosivo is his nickname. All right, we got a nickname for him. Explosivo. Norman Ducil, Team Lopez.
Blue corner from Midland, Texas. Here is Michael Dutchover.
I Will Fight is the name of the song. Steve Furtick. That's what Michael Dutchover is coming into.
I'm excited. I'm extremely happy once I got the call that I received that I was going to be the main event. I was excited. And I was already prepared. I prepared my best for this fight, this camp. It didn't matter where it was gonna be. But once I got the call saying I'm the main event, it just gave me more jitters, and I'm ready to perform now. My preparation actually was a little different from this camp. Because I spent 3 weeks in training camp in Guadalajara sparring with Oscar Valdez, the world champion 126-pounder right now, and that was basically the difference in my camp for this fight, and it elevated my game to another level, and on Saturday night it's going to show. going more rounds and being more comfortable in the ring, just getting experience, the little things that you can detect, you know, learning from a fighter and learning from an experienced pro like Oscar. He's a veteran in the sport now, and I was learning just little things from him on the inside game, on the outside game, how to read your opponent, different things to catch on, and just things like that. And my IQ has raised to another level, and it's gonna show come fight night. Advice, he's actually, to me, he just gave me some pointers that I'm in good shape and I'm ready for any opponent, because I'm not fighting an animal like him, but I treat everybody with respect, good respect, and you know, I'll be ready for any fighter. They're gonna respect a better me, more ring IQ. They're gonna see a better jab, better footwork, just all around better skills and a victory.
For the individuals who haven't seen me fight, you know, I'm a boxer, I'm a puncher. It just depends how the opponent is fighting me. I could box or I could brawl. You know, my training camp was really strong. You know, I had excellent sparring. We did a great job in the gym. You know, we have a great sparring, and we're gonna come out with the win tonight. I don't know too much about my opponent. I just know that he has 7 fights. I don't have a great amount of knowledge or information on him. And if I tell you my game plan, then it won't work out for me. We're gonna give a great fight. We're gonna give everything we have in the ring, and we're gonna try our best to come out with the win. You know, we didn't come here to play, we came here to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Doubletree in Orange, California, Thompson Boxing Promotions is proud to present the feature attraction, as this is the main event of the evening. Sponsored by Lucas Oil and sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Executive Director Andy Foster, Chairman John Caravelli. Your 3 judges scoring this bout, should it go the distance, are Eddie Hernandez Jr., Marty Denkin, and Zach Young. Timekeeper, Willie Adiola. Ringside physicians, Dr. Robert Ruelas, Jeff Roberts, and Dr. Eddie Ayoub. And last but not least, the man in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Jerry Cantu. 6 rounds of action in the 132-pound weight division. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Doubletree Hotel in Orange, California, where battles are fought and champions are made, ladies and gentlemen, let the battles begin! First, fighting out of the red corner to my left. He steps in the ring tonight wearing the black trunks trimmed with silver and white. When he stepped onto the scale, he went officially at 132 pounds even. As a professional, he has 10 fights to his credit, including 7 victories against 1 defeat with 2 bouts even. 6 of his victories coming to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, de Baja California, Tijuana, Mexico, introducing Ricardo Lopez. Introducing his opponent, fighting across the ring out of the blue corner to my right. He steps in the ring tonight wearing the navy blue trunks trimmed with white. When he stepped onto the scale, he weighed in officially at 131.3 solid pounds. Tonight, he steps into the ring undefeated. 7 wins with 0 losses. 5 of his victories coming to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us tonight all the way from Midland, Texas, here is the hard-hitting Michael Dutchover.
Gentlemen, you were giving your instructions in the dressing room. I want a good, clean, hard fight. You will obey my commands at all times.
Here is legal. It's a little bit high, so here is legal. Touch him up.
Jerry to the third man in the ring. We are ready for our main event tonight. Thompson Boxing's Night of Champions here at the Doubletree in Orange. So always get the Facebook going, especially during the main event. A lot of people in Midland, Texas watching us. Y saludos a todos los que están mirando en Tijuana, Zona Norte. That is where Ricardo Lopez is from. Explosivo is his nickname. Juan Melendez, I'm so excited, can't even sit down, bro. Sit down, Juan Melendez. I know you're going for a Dutchover. Dutchover in the cowboy blue and silver. There's that star in the back of his trunks, like a good Texan. Believes that Whataburger is better than In-N-Out, but we'll get into that later.
Blasphemy.
And how dare he? But he's a good young fighter. Both of them 20 years old.
One note about Ricardo Lopez, Beto. Soft opposition. This is his first bout out of Tijuana. Keep that in mind.
Dutchover 7-0, 5 KOs. Lopez 7-1-2. Steve mentioned all those fights in Tijuana. Couple of the billiard halls. But you mentioned Zona Norte, and you're like, uh-oh. You got to be a fighter to come out there. Terrible Morales. Dutchover combinations. Dutchover for this fight was actually sparring in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. The main sparring for WBO 126-pound champion Oscar Valdez. Spent originally supposed to be there for 2 weeks. Valdez liked it so much, kept him there for 3.
Talking to Frank Espinoza, the manager of Valdez, he will tell you that the most durable guy they had in that camp for Oscar Valdez leading into that fight for Scott Quigg was this young man, Michael Dutchover. Gave him his best work.
And Valdez usually spits out his sparring partners after 2 days. And give a lot of credit to Dutchover staying there for 3 weeks. Dutchover promoted by Thompson and Banner Promotions. Shout out to Artie Palulo watching her now. And Lopez answers with a 1-2 of his own. Body work from Dutchover, who's in the main event for the first time in his young career. That he's honored, but at the same time he knows he has to put on a show.
One thing I like about Dutchover, he already has a defined professional style sitting right inside the pocket. He's always going to be in good television fights, and I think that's going to make him very attractive to television networks going forward.
Right hand blocked by Lopez. Keeping that high guard is Lopez. I think he's realizing Dutchover trying to go for that overhand right. Dutchover answers with a quick left hook. Final seconds of the opening round. Scheduled for 6 in the main event between Michael Dutchover and Ricardo Lopez. Eva Becerril buscando a los de Tijuana. Christopher Bernard, saludos. Fierro. Raul Robles, also calling Richie Lopez, what you're calling him. Cindy Castro, shout out to you in Texas. Puro Dueñas, I like Dutchover's presence already.
And by the way, Artie Palula wants us to know he is watching and he's on his 3rd scotch. Artie, cheers.
3, huh? What kind of scotch, Artie?
Oh, only the best for him. He buys the premium labels, trust me.
So which kind is he sending us? Because after this fight, it is VIP night.
Yes.
And it is a night of champions. And I did see a couple bars. So Artie, let me know what kind of scotch I should order. 664 checking in. And now 664, the area code for Midland, Texas. Ruben Cuellar, I see your comments. All potential matchmaking should be sent to Alex Campanova. That's all I got to say. Not on our Facebook.
And you can see again Michael Dutchover just getting right to work inside that pocket, attacking the body with both hands. He's not afraid to mix it up, stick his nose into a pile. That's something that's very appealing about Dutchover.
Dutchover, you're wondering, like, wait a minute, what kind of name is that? It's a Belgian name, his grandmother. There, he's also Mexican. As you said, he spending time in Guadalajara, he learned some Spanish. He actually went down to a ranch in Michoacan. His trainer, Danny Zamora, known him since amateur days. Dutchover decided to leave Midland, Texas, to come to the riches of Southern California as far as boxing lifestyle. Now living in Santa Fe Springs, in Danny's house, actually.
Yeah, I think that was a great move. I still remember, and I referenced this earlier, Jose Ramirez from the Central Valley, who won a title tonight, made the decision early in his career he simply was not going to get better with the available sparring up there in the Central Valley. Took his lumps at the wild card, facing the likes of Frankie Gomez and Manny Pacquiao. It is so key for young fighters to be able to get good work. And you see, again, Dutchover again pounding to that body. He's a guy that's, I don't think he has great one-punch power, Beto, but he's going to wear guys out over time with volume and activity.
Some of the people commenting saying they see that pro style in Dutchover so young. Lopez answering back.
Yeah, and he's very comfortable right there inside the pocket. Now, the one thing Danny Zamora wants is don't take a picture. After you throw your punches, either get out of the way or make sure your hands are nice and tight and up, because from where he's at, it is absolutely paramount. He has his hands in proper defensive position and tucked in.
We're watching at Juan Melendez's house in Midland, Texas. Also the Mora family cheering on Dutchover. También saludos a Lorena Menchaca. Vamos Richie, arriba Tijuana. So they call him Richie and TJ, all right. Richie Lopez, Dutchover. Richie lands a good left hook. Dutchover answers with a combination of his own.
Boy, that was a good exchange. Both men really getting off good right hands, and I think Lopez may have beaten him to the punch on that particular exchange. Boy, that was a tricky move there by Lopez. He actually shifted to the southpaw stance and landed a very hard left that knocked Dutchover right on his heels.
Andrés Peña, ánimo, saludos desde Tijuana. Eva Becerril, Team Explosivo Lopez. And John Norman, all right, I get it. Dutchover, Midland, Texas, you the 432, appreciate you. Make sure you guys go to the Thompson Boxing website, social media, check it all out. Avi Mares, saludos. Rocio Becerril, esperando en Tijuana. What do you have, Steve?
A message from Marty Polulo. Monte Cristo #3 and Balbany 14. Those are certainly very, very highly recommended.
Monte Cristo and Balbalin. I'm going to have to write that down. That just sounds fancy. You know, I got a clip-on bow tie tonight. I'm going to try to get fancy with according to Mr. Polulo.
Round #3 is going to be interesting. I thought Lopez touched up Dutchover a little bit at the end of round #2. I tell you one thing about Lopez. He's quick, and he's got pretty good power. And Dutchover has to mind his P's and his Q's defensively in this particular matchup.
Now move, get out. Now get out. Go under.
Lopez has 5 sisters. He's the youngest sibling. Oldest one is 34 years old. So he just wants to come to the United States and give the fans a great fight. They didn't know much about Dutchover. I just want to give him a fight. Started boxing at the age of 13. Telegraph Barbers, what's up? Believe it or not, Dutchover told me to make sure you shout you guys out, but Arlene Marron, you jumped the gun. But
Keep moving, Mike.
joined now by Henry Ramirez, trainer extraordinaire, Crossroads Boxing.
Ring cross.
Oh, Ring Cross, I'm sorry.
Cross boxing.
Ring crowd.
This is some good action here.
Yeah, what do you see here, Henry?
I really like Dutchover's style, but I'll tell you what, this guy came to fight. What's his name again?
Ricardo Lopez.
Ricardo Lopez.
Ricardo, not Benito
Yeah, not
Lopez.
Benito.
But he has been very crafty. The one thing about Dutchover, with his style, it is absolutely paramount, isn't it, Henry, that he's got to bring his hands back every single time.
Everything comes back. Because this guy is getting off in between.
His nickname is Explosivo Lopez, the fighter from Tijuana, with the red gloves. You're right, Henry. He came to fight, especially here in the third round.
This here is not one-way traffic. Dutchover's being made to work here. This is great experience.
This is back and forth action. Great experience, like you said. Great experience.
Now, your fighter, the heavyweight, won tonight.
Yeah, he had to work for it.
Scott Alexander.
Yeah, he won a fourth round stoppage, or they stopped it after the fourth.
Henry, you remind me of that driving instructor that goes on for the first time with this jittery kid on the highway. You literally have to instruct him with a guy like that, limited background almost every step of the way, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he didn't have any amateur fights, but he's a real great athlete. So yeah, like you said, you almost, step by step, you really have to guide him through every round.
That's part of the deal too. When, like, say a fighter like Dutchover only has 7 pro fights, he might have the amateur experience, but still, as a youngster, you got to give him more instruction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, great hook.
Good left hook by Dutchover. Combination by
There
Dutchover.
you go. Nice little shift after.
Some crafty counter-punching off the ropes. That's one of the things I really like about Dutchover. I think the one thing he lacks is great power, but he really does have a high boxing IQ with that volume, yeah.
Kind of an old Juan Diaz a little bit, and it reminded me a little bit of Juan Diaz back in the day.
Little baby boom?
Yeah.
Oh, my jams are like mano arriba, danza kuduro. Got the red Steve Kim. Oh, tell me you don't just get all pumped when you hear this song.
So Henry, with Scott Alexander, limited amateur background, not that many fights, and for a heavyweight, relatively young at 28, how do you map this out?
Well, you know, he's 14-2. He's been inactive over the past year. We'll probably look to get him another fight. And then, you know, I think 15-2, he's ready for a showbox type fight. You know, I seen Junior Fa fight. You know, there was a chance he was going to fight Lippy Morrison a while back, but Lippy got injured. So, you know, there's heavyweights out there that, you know, he's probably going to be in line to face.
Now, speaking of heavyweights, the guy that you're always going to be associated with,
Chris
Arreola. Is there any news on him?
Yeah, he's breathing.
Wait, you say he's breathing?
Yeah.
Breathing, yes, he's breathing. He's breathing, he's alive.
I talk to Chris every day, man. Chris and I talk every day. You know, his and my relationship goes far beyond boxing.
He's breathing. All right. Henry Ramirez and his breathing fighters. We're watching a good scrap here between Michael Dutchover and the Tijuana fighter Ricardo Lopez. And this is what's cool about the Facebook stream. Michelle Watkins writes, excited to see my former kindergarten student fight tonight, Team Dutchover. When your kindergarten teacher's watching.
That's awesome.
Salute to all the teachers out there. Braylon, Amaya, Julius, Team Dutchover with Lizette Gonzalez watching tonight.
Henry, you've been through this process of building fighters. For an 8th fight, the way Dutchover's facing Lopez, this is on the pretty good side, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, this is a kid's fight. You know, this is the fun stuff, guys, the building kids, you know, the starting from the grassroots, the ground roots, so to speak. You know, it's fun. I did this here with Josecito Lopez. I did it with Chris Arreola. This is getting heated. Yeah. This is getting really heated.
Now, Henry, having worked with Steve and with Doug Fisher the last few years, I've learned a fighter who knocks everybody out in his first 10 fights learns nothing.
You're not doing the kid. You know, you'll get him 1 or 2 of those, but you need someone who's going to offer some resistance. You know, someone to fight back a little bit, make him work, like my kid in the first fight, Anthony Franco. You know, he had to work for it. You know.
Yeah, I call those fights Milli Vanilli fights. Yeah, you're lip syncing. I mean, really, this right here is some stuff that is going to benefit Michael Dutchover 2-3 years down the line.
Absolutely.
Because you can only spar so much, right? You can only do so much.
Like, this is a very competitive fight.
Like, there's plans that Thompson Boxing and Banner has for Dutchover for 2018. But if you can't get past I'm not knocking Ricardo Lopez, but you should win against a fighter like Ricardo Lopez. You have to be careful what you have as a promoter. You also got to figure out exactly what kind of fighter you got, too, right?
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of times, you know, Bill Parcells once said about the NFL, you are what your record says you are. In boxing, that's not true because of matchmaking, bad decisions. This guy Lopez at 7-1-2, he's pretty legitimate.
He's legit. He's legit.
I could absolutely see Alex Campanova using this guy again down the line.
Shoot, if he was here in the U.S., who knows? He may be a prospect, someone that would sign. You know what I mean?
Both of them only 20 years old.
Young kid, very young kid.
Solid right by Dutchover. Good right hand by the Tijuana fighter Lopez.
And by the way, guys, after 3, I have it 3-0, but I think rounds 2 and 3 have been very close and competitive. This has been certainly a stern test. A solid outing here for Dutchover against the very game Ricardo Lopez.
Very game.
Let's go, Mike.
If he's up 3-0, the rounds are very close. Not indicative of how close it is.
Puro Dueñas with Lopez not going quietly into the night. Do not go gentle to that good night. Little Dylan Thomas for you. Norma Torres, vamos explosivo. Tu mamá desde Tijuana. His mom is watching. Armando Pio Quinto, Team Dutchover. And then April 14th, we're on the road to the Salad Bowl, Salinas. Where should Steve and I go to dinner? Actually, where are you guys taking us to dinner?
And by the way, we are the big show on that night now that Terrence Crawford is not fighting Jeff Horn on that day.
I'll see you guys there because I'm going to be there too, so where are we tagging along to?
Oh, you're going?
I'll be there, yeah.
Why? Who you got?
I got the heavyweight fight, LaRon.
Oh, you got LaRon?
There's a couple guys I just managed down. It's awesome. I love the managing side of the
Oh, so
business.
you're managing LaRon?
LaRon, no, not LaRon. LaRon's opponent.
Oh, okay. Well,
and,
you know what?
And then Anthony Franco, I manage him, and Joe trains him, but he's in Riverside half the time.
Well,
also.
you know this as a manager, one thing you have to do is become friends with the media, and one way of doing that is by taking Steve to dinner. Not me, I don't need to eat, but you know. Good right hand by Lopez, the 5th round, scheduled for 6. Ooh, solid right hand. As Tijuanero comes in out, bravo.
Got to catch and shoot, catch and shoot.
What does that mean, Henry, catch and shoot?
You want to catch a wide shot, come right off it with the counter shot, catch and shoot.
And the one thing Dutchover's done well is keep his hands up and be able to parry and deflect. This is a great experience for one reason. Most of the times, at 7-0, 8-0,
you don't get a fight like this.
Right, you're pitching, but you're not catching. This is two-way activity
this is two-way
here.
action. This is a tough fight. He's going to wake up sore tomorrow.
Both of them.
Both of them, absolutely.
That's good work there by Lopez. Explosivo. And Dutchover comes in his own. This shows the quality of sparring that he was getting down in Guadalajara when he was with Oscar Valdez. Also sparred Jesse Magdaleno as Jesse started up his own camp. And Emilio Sanchez. And just great work. And it's paying off here.
Yeah, this fight is where Dutchover has to be very disciplined defensively. And you see him now. Every time he throws, he's very cognizant, Henry, of making sure that right hand comes right back near his ear.
You got to bring those hands back.
Vince Lopez, right? Lopez, the real fighter. Let's go, Lopez.
Dutchover using his legs a little more now, so changing it up. Ooh.
Right hand.
Yeah, he's got to change up the timing of that jab now.
Getting hit. That's something when you go back and you watch the video, like, okay.
These are some great exchanges.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right hand from Tijuana. And Dutchover wore it.
Well, Dutchover did a nice job of tucking in his chin and kind of shouldering it a little bit.
He took a little off it.
But I'll tell you, these matchmakers, if you want a tough test for your prospect, call Lopez. He's going to give you a good, honest effort.
Absolutely.
That might be the hardest that Dutchover's ever been hit as a pro.
Or the most he's ever been hit as a pro.
Most for sure.
Jab.
Body shot from Dutchover. You heard that thud. As Lopez keeps his left arm down really low after getting hit on the side.
Now get out.
And he listened to his corner, Danny Zamora, get out.
Don't let him get close to you, Mike. Don't let him get close to you.
Good action the entire fight. Michael Dutchover Ricardo Lopez, our main event. 5th round, winding down. Solid side-to-side movement by Michael Dutchover. Good action as we head to the 6th and final round. Lopez has, or Larry Rivas has Lopez up. And you can say that even
That's
you
not
said
out
it
of the
too.
question. There's some close rounds there.
Because you said rounds 2 and 3 were really close. You can see where it's going. Shelby Eleanor, how about this comment? You can never compare a Mexican-American with a real Mexican. Let's go Lopez. Oh, see, now you're going into territory. Let me tell you something as a Mexican-American broadcaster. Oh, I can never be. What did Selena's dad say? We can never be too Mexican. We can never be too American. You can't please both. Oh, see. And we both know, Henry, that the real Mexican is Steve Kim right here.
Right, Mexican.
Mexican. I'm just a fancy Mexican.
The pride of Montebello, Steve Kim.
And the pride of TJ coming out. Zona Norte, el explosivo Ricardo Lopez.
Man, he's letting it all hang out this round.
Hey, when you fight in the United States for the first time, you got to know that everything's against you. And you know he's trying to find.
Yeah,
he's trying to find a promoter too.
Yeah, he sure is.
Dutchover mentioned the training in Guadalajara, was running sprints with all the boxers. He'd always come in second during the running to Valdez, but not by far. So he feels in great shape. Let's see how that conditioning comes through here in the 6th round.
He's getting outworked in this
Yes, he
round.
is.
He's getting outworked.
He turns him around.
Nice work.
That's hard to do, isn't it?
It is.
This corner urging on Lopez. You hear him yelling, "Vamos, Richie."
Good combination. Now he's on using his legs. Getting off and getting out. Getting off and
Dutch
getting
over in the
out.
corner. It's out of there.
Good hook.
Hook from
Nice
Dutch over.
hook.
Yep. Quick hook from Dutch over. That's from the southpaw stance. It's the arsenal Dutch over starting to use. Switching back and forth. So he feels real comfortable with it.
Well, he's shown the ability to shuffle the deck, but in all honesty, he's had to. He's had to disrupt the tempo and the timing, and some of this round he's even fought southpaw.
Definitely had to change it up because he was, at the end of the round, he was getting beat to the punch. Losing the exchanges.
45 seconds to go in the fight.
He has some swelling on his eye, Dutch over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little mouse under the eye.
A fight that I'm pretty sure is tougher than he expected. Solid. As you have Michael Dutchover and Ricardo Lopez go the distance. Good night of action here. 4 fights as Lopez jumps onto the rope.
I didn't see the third fight, but our 2 fights were competitive.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
competitive.
Yeah.
This was good matchmaking.
Good night
This
all.
was good matchmaking.
As here goes Steve Kim's unofficial scorecard.
That's how I have it.
And you know what? I thought Dutchover won this fight, but it certainly was not his most dominant performance, which is a testament to Lopez, who I had closing strong, winning rounds 5 and 6. Certainly.
If you give him any early round, it's a draw.
I mean, a draw would not surprise me, but I do think Dutchover eked it out, Henry.
Yeah.
But, you know, regardless of the result, this is the type of fight 5 years from now you're going to say,
he'll look back.
That forced him.
Yep, absolutely.
You see Michael Dutchover's his brother in the background. The crime fighting cut man, Mike Rodriguez in the corner.
I'm not a fan of his trainer, Danny Zamora.
Hey, you know what? Is anybody?
Alex Cabanova says Danny and I were separated at birth.
You're not cousins?
He said
You're not cousins?
He said we're brothers separated at birth.
All right, before you guys get crazy on the Facebook, nobody's comparing Chavez and De La Hoya. Get out of here with that.
What?
I don't know. Something about the Mexican Americans.
Oh, God.
Because you know they go to night school and take Spanish
Right,
and get a B.
right. Go to sleep. This was a good action fight.
Yeah, this was a fun fight. Interesting how the judges have it. Beto Duran, Steve Kim, and Henry
I'll
Ramirez.
be seeing you guys April 14th.
We'll see you at Salinas.
I have 2 kids on the 27th show in April,
And
Jonah
we'll-
Flores and Louis Lopez. Right now I have 11 pros right now, 10 pros.
Whoa.
A lot of young kids, and it's great. I love it.
And
love
as Ruben Espinoza says, you know it's a good fight when you want to see both fighters again.
Again, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And Ruben Benavides, Puro Whataburger, whatever, man. Ain't no Whataburger on this broadcast. And Sonny Franco gives us our results.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 exciting rounds of action, to the judges' scorecards we go. All 3 judges, Eddie Hernandez Jr., Marty Tankin, and Zach Young, all see the bout the same, 59-55, in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, Michael Dutchover.
So Michael Dutchover keeps his perfect record. Henry Ramirez, we will say bye to you. We will see you in Salinas, though.
Couple weeks.
I will see you guys in a couple weeks.
And congratulations to you. You had
Okay.
Anthony Franco and Scott Alexander with victors tonight.
Thank you guys.
So
Thanks for having me.
Midland, Texas, your fighter gets the victory. El Tijuanero, Ricardo Lopez, though, made a name for himself. Opened up, as Dutchover's going to come over and talk to us in a little bit.
Boy, that was tough.
That was tough.
That was a tough night at the office.
And that was also fun. A lot of fun. Thanks to everybody watching. Don't go anywhere. Dutchover's going to come over and do an interview with us. Buen pelea, Richie.
Good fight, man.
Le mandamos saludos a toda tu familia. So Richie's walking off right now. So you see Ken Thompson, Danny Zamora taking the pictures.
And Artie Palulo says very proud of his young man, so that's exactly the type of tough fight that he needs. And it really, I got to tell you, one thing Dutchover showed tonight was some discipline, staying power, and character. You don't get those in early round knockouts.
Y gracias a todos los que nos estaban mirando desde Tijuana. As Michael Dutchover making his way over to our set. Get the headset for him. Breathe, man, breathe. Take your time. No, I'm talking. We'll put the headset on, man. I'm trying to tell you breathe because you're about to go on camera and you're going to see everybody. And just want to give you a chance. Right there. I give you a chance. Relax. Not those guys up there. Just relax, okay? Let's put the headset up here. That was a fight that I'm pretty sure was tougher than you expected, right?
Yes, sir. I knew nothing about my opponent, and we trained for whatever. We were ready for whatever. I actually, unfortunately, I hurt my hand in the 3rd round, and I had to change up my style.
Which hand did you hurt?
My left hand. And
Okay.
as much as I wanted to, get in there and show my conditioning, my coach, Danny Zamora, told me, stick to your game, box smart. And so we tried to show different skill level in this fight, and I felt that we did. There's still much more improvement that I need. My defense, I felt I got hit with shots that I didn't need to get hit with. And that's why we're working in the gym very hard. And we're back in the gym next week and getting ready for the next fight.
Well, Michael, that was tough. That was tough sledding, right?
Yeah, it was good work. It was good work. I liked it.
When you are able to spar with Oscar Valdez and literally be the one guy that could kind of survive that gauntlet, does it make that a little bit easier?
Yes, of course. That's why I said we were ready for whatever competition that they would bring. He was a good skilled level fighter. I like that my promoter, Thompson Boxing, they're challenging me with good fights and helping me develop my career. And I put all my trust in my coach and my manager, Danny, and we're on the road to success right now.
Michael, this was the one fight I thought you had to be real disciplined defensively. This guy was sneaky.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you had. I thought there's a part of that fight you said, I'm going to start getting my hands back up quicker.
Yeah.
Am I right about
exactly.
that?
Yes, sir. And same thing that my coach told me. I need to be getting all cute, and we're working on that and stay tight, stay disciplined, and I thought that we showed that in the later rounds.
Is that the most you've been hit as a pro?
In one fight, it has to be, right?
Other than sparring, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in a fight, right?
Sparring. Yeah.
Well, it's a little different without headgear
Yep.
and 8-ounce
Yes, sir.
gloves, you know.
Yes,
but
sir.
you feel as though you grew up a little bit tonight.
Yes, sir. Very, very much, and you know, this was a great experience for me and my team, and we're learning more each and every fight as a professional, and I feel I'm growing.
All right, go ahead. There's a camera. Midland,
What's up,
Texas.
Midland?
We were
What's up,
asking,
Midland?
where should you fight? People were saying the Horseshoe, and what's that other place? The
Chaparral Center.
Chaparral Center.
There's places.
the Grand?
We can do it. I know we can do it.
All right, where do you want to fight?
I just need all the support. Wherever Midland wants me to
here's,
fight.
don't forget
I'll
this.
fight anywhere.
This is
and I
what you
don't
got to
care.
do.
Take me to Mexico, I'll fight.
Oh, yeah, no, calmado, Mexico. We want American money. Right? You don't know pesos here. So what you want to do, though, is this is when you say, hey, I would love to sell out blank. That way you got to let the promoters know, man.
I would love to sell out the Chaparral Center. I'd love to sell out Memorial Stadium. I would love to sell out.
On his way to Cowboy Stadium,
I'll sell out the
AT&T.
street. I'll sell out another drive. People can watch me fight in the street.
All right, go ahead. Put it.
One
All
moment,
right,
one
here goes the
moment.
cowboy. There you go. We're making a monster out of here. He went from not wanting to talk to all of a sudden he has to represent the star.
I don't think anybody's seen this yet.
No, there you go. Now send out your shout out. Send the shout out, Sal.
Shout out to my boy Juanito. Juanito, I love you, brother. Shout out to the Mora family, everybody back home, everybody. I love y'all. I love Midland, Texas, Santa Fe Springs, California.
What about those kids that you live with?
Kids, Benny and Sammy, what's up, man? I know y'all are watching. Get ready to get beat in 2K also.
And the last thing, all right,
wow.
you told me
And
that
Madden.
you learned some Spanish when you went to Guadalajara. Where are you from?
I can't talk that
But you
language
went
on
to
camera.
where are you from now? You're not from Midland. Where are you from?
De Michoacán, La Palma.
Get out of here. Michael
Thank you.
Dutchover,
Also,
commission's
I
waiting
wanna
for
say,
you.
Thank you to Rafa Espinosa, all of the team over there, Roberto, my chef over there. Thank you. God bless y'all.
All right,
God bless
Michael
All right.
Dutchover improves
Good
to
job.
8-0
Good job
tonight.
tonight.
Thank you.
Good job. We will see him soon. I think the next time we will see him might be in Midland, Texas, as we make the view and continue to go. So a good night of boxing action. Dutchover gets the victory. He's 8-0. Steve, quality work. And there's some people upset about it, the decision.
Well, I thought it was a little bit closer, but again, when you have a situation of the young prospect and the hot prospect and the house fighter, early rounds generally, the psychological bent of judges to give it to one guy. Now, I believe Lopez did a lot of work in rounds 5 and 6, but I do think Dutchover won. I thought tonight what we saw was quality work for young prospects. Nothing came easy tonight, and it was a good show matched by Alex Campanovo, and this is part of the process. Hey, Danny Roman went through this for years. Michael Dutchover is just beginning.
Same thing that Josecito Lopez went through, Timothy Bradley went through. Learning experiences, and you go and you try to get better for your next one. Our next Thompson Boxing Promotion will be when? When are we fighting again? When?
April
Salinas,
14th.
the 14th. And then when we go to Ontario? The 27th. That's
Yes.
right. I read my emails, Pierre Casitas. So for Mr. Ken Thompson, Alex Campanovo, Pierre Casitas, Paul Lafornia, and everybody on the crew, my partner, Steve Kim. And, of course, you guys watching us on the Facebook, can't say thank you so much. We'll see you April 14th from the South Bowl. Beto Duran saying good night and thank you for watching Thompson Boxing Promotions.
Viva!